get that feeling of exhilaration and to actually get that feeling of debate. So when, when I heard that we were going to try this, where actually I am in my house with, my mom and my family, but I am still focused on putting my points. It's definitely a very new experience. So I'm very excited to hear all of our participants today. And I would also like to formally, we have with us our principal Priya ma'am, our faculty members, we have our judges with us. So a very, very warm welcome to our judges. And I am deeply grateful to you. You took out time of your out of your schedules, and you are here with us to help us, judge our participants. And we hope that they live up to your mark. So I am not going to take any more of your time, and I would just like to hand it over to Pushpam. And in case the judges you're facing any difficulty, you can feel free to reach out to us. We have Shagun, who's going to be a student coordinator with you. And in case you have any difficulty of any sort, please feel free to reach out to Shagun. And with that, I would just like to invite Pushpam to kindly introduce our participants and to move forward with this event. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Pushpam.
Okay. So, our first team for the event consists of two participants, that is LC1 and LC2. I would call upon LC1, the first participant of the first team, that is LC1. You have to speak for the topic. You have 3 minutes and your time starts as soon as the timer is set.
Navneeta ma'am, have the participants been admitted?
Can I start?
Yeah, your video is on. So I'll give you a count of 3. Can you see the timer
Yeah.
on the screen?
Yeah.
Purva ma'am, can we confirm with the judges?
Yes. Just a second.
Rajiv sir, Shashwati ma'am.
Rajiv
Yeah,
sir,
I'm okay. I'm fine. I can hear properly.
Okay,
Absolutely
great.
no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Shashwati ma'am.
Shaswati ma'am, you just have to unmute yourself.
Yes.
May we proceed?
Yes, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
How to start
Yes,
on the count of 3, right?
Yeah. On the count of 3, I'll give you a count, and on the third number, I'll start off the timer.
Okay.
Okay. So, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, everyone. As we are discussing climate change and the effect of lockdown on climate change, we've already seen the decrease of carbon emission by 15 to 20% across the world. As we speak about America, there has been a decrease of 17%. As we discuss about China, there has been a decrease of around 18%. And these two countries are the major contributors to carbon emission. As we've also seen that lockdown has also helped animals to revive their lives better. We've already seen migrating birds in Mumbai coming back, flamingos. We've already seen migrating birds in Atlantica. They are migrating properly, which they weren't before this in 2019. As we've also, the topic today is annual or biannual lockdown is going to help climate change crisis, is going to help tackle climate change crisis. So the answer is yes, because it has shown us the way to reduce our carbon emission, which is the biggest problem we are facing right now. And we've already seen the decrease. And so proper planning of these lockdowns will help us in future to reduce the carbon emission globally. As we've already seen cities doing that. In Europe last year, if you remember, we had car bans for like a week or for days to reduce the emissions, and it has worked. It has worked to reduce pollution. So biannual lockdown to tackle climate change is the way to go forward, because there is no other way we can reduce carbon emission to this extent that this lockdown has provided. So I feel it is going to affect us positively. Evolved if you've already seen that air pollution in Delhi, in Bombay, the BKC is the most polluted area, and after that, Navi Mumbai is the most polluted area. You've already seen the reduction in air pollution significantly in these two areas. Apart from that, Delhi and Noida, Varanasi are one of the most polluted cities in the world. And because of this lockdown, because of this pandemic, unfortunate pandemic, because of the lockdown conditions, we've already seen air pollution going down significantly because all the factories are closed, because there is no vehicular emissions. We've already seen pollution levels go down significantly. Uh, Although a sustainable way, I mean, you cannot enforce a lockdown every year for like 2 3 months, but we can surely try this idea for 15 days, for 20 days, even in November, December, when Delhi pollution is high. So this is the way to go forward, I feel. Thank you so much.
Pushpa? Okay, LT2 is here. Your audio is working, right?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. So
Okay.
on the count, LC2 would be speaking against the motion. On the count of 3, your timer will start. So are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
So, good afternoon, everyone. The motion for the debate is introduction of biannual lockdowns for short duration, a way ahead for environment protection, and I will be speaking against this motion. While the lockdowns have improved the quality of the environment, I don't think it is something that we should do every year, and especially not biannually, because the cost of that would be immense. The modern economy is a highly complex and interlinked system. With all major economies of the world connected to each other, it has created a highly efficient system of wealth and resource distribution. It is the innovation and expansion of economies that have created multiple opportunities and employment for people. Economic growth is a constant and phenomenon, and to interrupt this phenomenon would be highly destructive to the progress that we have made so far. With the coronavirus pandemic situation, the governments all around the world were forced to enforce lockdowns to prevent its further spread. While the other consequences of the lockdowns are debatable, the economy has definitely taken a major hit. The International Monetary Fund estimates that the lockdowns have triggered a recessive period that will not only be worse than the 2008 financial crisis, but possibly the worst in a century. We saw in 2008 that a failure of a few banks caused a dominoes effect on the entire economy. And while that crisis was triggered by greed, to enforce a lockdown is equally morally reprehensible, because to suggest enforcing of lockdowns, we are also suggesting the voluntary shutdown of of the economy, which would automatically lead to a fall in employment, which would reduce the amount of disposable income that people have, and it would lead to a shortage of demand. So, while it is possible for some sectors to find solace in working from home, it is not possible for all sectors, and it would be unfair to those sectors which cannot work from home. And I can't see the timer.
Okay.
Well, if such lockdowns are enforced, it is irrefutable that the economy will take a major hit. Unemployment will rise, and so will poverty. And it doesn't matter how clear the skies are, how serene the seas are, how pure the air is. If people are at home with with their families and themselves starving. Thank you.
LC1, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. You'll start your rebuttal after the timer is set.
LC number 1, can I start I'll start the counter at 3. So are you ready? 1, 2, LC1, I can't see you. I can't see your video. So just give me a heads up as to are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
My dear friend has talked about economy and the reduction in economic growth of the world, but he has forgotten that the topic of our discussion today is environment protection. The climate change the impact of climate change does not limit to only climate deprivation. It also results in poverty. It also results in economic deprivation. We should not forget that coronavirus has emerged due to habitat loss and our infringement on extremely sensitive global hotspot green hotspots. So his entire argument is for the economy, but our discussion today is about the environment, and he has not provided any solutions to protect the environment. He has only talking about he has been talking about the economy, which is not the topic of discussion today. So if you want to protect the economy, you also have to protect the environment. Thank you.
LC2, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
All right.
Can you see the
So,
timer?
no.
I think it's visible. I think you've not kept the screen. Just open the
All
screen.
right.
Yeah, on the count of 3, I'll start the timer. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
So, while LC2 stated that I've said nothing about the economy. It is the innovation in the economy that drives the creation of multiple products that actually help the environment. It is through this innovation that any innovation like solar power, it's all been because of the free market society that we have right now, and it has inspired create many inventions that will eventually save the environment. And while LC1 states that so biannual lockdowns could actually help the environment, how is it helping the environment if it's only for a short duration, and things will return to normalcy as soon as possible? Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. Now I invite LC3 of the second team. LC3, you have to speak for the motion. I repeat, you have to speak for the motion. You will get 3 minutes and you will start speaking as soon as the timer is set.
Do we have LC3 in the...
Yes, LC3 is there. Has to put on the webcam.
Kindly switch on your webcam, please.
Yeah, the webcam is on.
Okay.
Please
So,
unmute yourself.
yeah. Please unmute it only. We can hear you. Okay. So we'll proceed with the next participant. Should we get a confirmation from the judges?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Okay. So Saraswati ma'am, we'll begin with the next participant.
Yes.
LC3 on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so it's the changes that we are seeing in the environment today are because the humans are living inside. We are no longer traveling around the world. All the only essential needs are being fulfilled. All the factories are shut down and the travel is banned, which is the reason we are seeing such a drastic improvement in the quality of air and the environment and the nature bouncing itself back. But this is not a permanent solution, because we're not going to be in a lockdown phase forever. We're going to come back, and once we start coming back to our normal life, normal job, this is just going to be a blip on the radar. Now it is said that the same number of the air quality and the nitrogen dioxide levels have been present during the Chinese New Year, when the factories over there shut down, or during the Christmas years in Europe and USA, when the factories over there shut down. So what the scientists are trying to tell us is that during the festival seasons, when around the world normally factories shut down and the people are mostly staying indoors with their families, this kind of recovery for the nature is possible. So yes, a biannual lockdown plan which will give the nature a breather that is necessary, because despite us trying to reduce our global footprint, we are not able to do that because we want progress, we want technology, we want to travel everywhere around the world. And when it is not possible to stop humans from doing what is needed for their profit and for their benefit, you can do it at least twice a year in a short, a very short brief period throughout the world. It can be done. This is a small thing with policy changes, and with a global agreement coming to together, so that something like this can be made legally possible and without restricting on people or infringing on people's fundamental rights. This is something that humans can do so that the nature bounces back, and so that our future generations get to see and breathe and live in a environment that our ancestors were blessed to live in. Today maximum people die because of asthma and polluted air related diseases and man-made disasters that are causing the nature to act out. So I think a solution is really needed, and the solution can be very easily achieved in its objective, even if it is just a short term breaks of say 5 days or 7 days, twice a year is not a big deal. Thank you.
Now I would call upon LC4. LC4, you have to speak against the motion. You have 3 minutes.
LC4, is your video camera on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Am I
I
not
can see it now.
visible?
Thank you. Yes.
All right.
On the count of three, your timer will start. So 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon. I must begin by establishing the idea of an enforced lockdown is oxymoronic, as a complete lockdown is unachievable. Even as we battled COVID, a pandemic of the highest degree in modern world history, the production and manufacturing units of essential goods, buildings, all kinds of industrial projects, coal mining, oil drills, and agricultural activities, some of the main culprits of environmental degradation, have remained fairly active around the world. A recent NPR analysis showed that during the lockdown, the amount of one pollutant, ozone, correlated to emissions released from vehicles, factories, has barely decreased despite traffic reductions of more than 40%. Despite improvements, the air quality in the most polluted cities around the world is still not within the satisfactory category. As Hendrik Wouters, climate scientist, opines, this 3 month decrease in emission will not have a great benefit in the long run. Yes, we might see some positive changes in the air quality, but they will not be exclusive to the duration, but they will be exclusive to the duration of the lockdowns. As we open back up, it would have all been for naught. Is that a way ahead for environmental protection? Will the lockdowns freeze back the melted glaciers in the Arctic? Will they stop the earth from getting warmer? Will they protect the endangered species? No. On the contrary, environmental agencies have reported an uptick in deforestation of rainforests during lockdown, as well as alarming increases in poaching, animal trafficking, and illegal mining around the world. Such lockdowns would not only be environmentally ineffective, but additionally problematic. The proposal of biannual lockdowns comes from a place of great economic and social privilege. While you and I lounge in our apartments, an enforced lockdown could mean prolonged starvation and homelessness for 93 million and um, contract and casual laborers paid by the day. History will pay testament to the fact that epidemics have often proven to be harbingers of deterioration in mental health of the afflicted masses. 2 months into a lockdown, and already there has been a 50% increase in suicides and double the number of domestic violence. Then there is also the quandary of violation of fundamental rights of the citizens. Many people will be rendered jobless, thus endangering their right to livelihood. And additionally, the people's right to freedom of movement, recognized as a human right under Article 13 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights and fundamental right under the Indian Constitution will be violated. In conclusion, to protect the environment, we need to make fundamental changes in the way we generate power, manufacture goods, and move those goods. Lockdowns, however noble in thought, are misguided and insufficient fix to a permanent problem. Thank you.
LC3, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. See?
We can start. Okay, so I would like to say that I am not talking about a permanent lockdown. A biannual lockdown would mean a 5 day or a 7 day lockdown twice a year, which is something that will not affect people's fundamental rights. Now, if you look at it, World Health Organization shows that 9 out of 10 people breathe air that contains the highest level of pollutants, and the death toll due to the air pollution is around 7 million people every year across the globe. Now, this is just because of air pollution, and it is one of the things that can be very easily managed. And the effect of this lockdown that we are saying, as you say, when the cities open up, will not be seen permanently. But if we continue to do something like this biannually, the effects will last longer, and the awareness that people get about, polluting the air and their impact on environment will increase. Thank you.
LC4, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. The time starts on the count of 3.
Are you ready?
Of course, ma'am.
Yeah. One,
Yes.
2, 3.
Of course, ma'am, I understood your point of these lockdowns not being permanent. But my main point was that these so-called lockdowns for small periods will be ineffective. So what is the point? Additionally, they will be causing like psychological trauma. These biannual lockdowns will present as a psychological trauma for many, forcing them to re-experience PTSD and anxiety disorders. Um, as many scientists have claimed, these lockdowns will be majorly ineffective in the long run when it comes to subduing the problems and travesties of climate change and global warming. So my main point being that such temporary and lockdowns for small periods of time are completely ineffective, insufficient. Instead, we should vouch for stronger and stricter international, national environmental laws. Thank you.
LC3 and 4, please mute yourself and you all can stay back. You both can stay back here.
Pushpam, the
Now
next
the next team is
the next team is, we are skipping one team and moving on to the next one. Yeah. Thank you.
So the next team is LC6 and LC8. I would call upon LC6. You have to speak for the motion. You have 3 minutes and your time begins as soon as the timer is set.
Purva, LC6 has not connected her audio.
Okay. LC6.
LC6.
Could you just give us a moment, please? Navneeta, ma'am.
Yes, Purva, ma'am.
Which team is coming on right now?
LC6 and LC8.
LC
Team number 3. Sorry, team number 4.
Team number 4.
Yes.
Just a minute. Are they in the?
Okay. She's joined. 1 second. Okay. LC6. You may unmute yourself. Yeah, she's here.
Please switch on your video and say something so I can see you. Give me a ready at least, please.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You I'll start the timer on the count of 3. Judges, please make a note that this is team 4 that is going, and
Yes.
the participant that will be speaking now is LC6. Okay, so LC6, on the count of 3, you may start.
Yeah.
One,
Good afternoon, everybody.
1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everybody. Across the whole world, we could see the pollution being decreasing drastically. We could see air getting cleaner, water getting cleaner. We could see, we could see this even in India as well. We could see the cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata, where air quality index was very low, doing itself very good. And then River Ganga and Yamuna, which was so dirty, now being clean again. And thanks to the coronavirus, maybe this is the only good thing which coronavirus lockdown has done to the mankind. Now, the real question which arises is how are you going to preserve this? Is biannual lockdown the only solution for it? Yes, I believe it's the only solution for the same. Why do I say that? I would like to talk about China, right? So China is one of the first countries to start their lockdown and then also end it quickly. So what has happened there? The carbon emission there has been decreased by 25% in 1.5 months of their lockdown period, and which itself has decreased so much. And PM 2.5, PM 2.5 emission, which has been a major reason for deaths due to pollution, has also decreased drastically, and it's estimated that it has saved about 77,000 lives in this span itself. So doing these lockdown has not only saving the environment but also saving lives. And India is one of those countries which has been most affected due to the pollution during the previous years. India is a country which has been seen. India has been a country which has seen about 1.2 million deaths in the previous year itself for the failure of preventing pollution, and we could see so many deaths caused due to the pollution diseases itself. So doing these lockdowns has affected the environment in a positive way, and continuing these lockdowns on a continuous period will help to restore our environment for a very long period of time. And in my opinion, it might affect the economy as such, but how much of the government is being spending on the environmental protection in the first place? The government has been spending only 14,000 crores of its entire budget for the protection of environment. So is this really enough, right? So the question arises is, how are we going to preserve our environment? The lockdown has already been proven. The government has also taken several measures to protect our environment, but has it been successful in the long run? No. The government has said that any companies which high carbon emission will be closed down. Yes, there are several companies which has been closed down as well, but has it been affected for our environment completely? There has been so much carbon emission happening on a regular basis, and we have seen our countries being affected. Completely. Sorry. Yeah. So carbon emission is one of the major sources of pollution in the first place. And how are we going to prevent that by an lockdown itself? When you're not allowing people to do your work, to do work, there is no scope of pollution to take place itself. People are sitting at homes, the cars are off, so there's not going to be scope for much pollution itself. So in my opinion, doing these kinds of lockdowns will not only help the environment but also make the family more stronger. I would like to end by saying this. We have to show our future generations that we had a better environment.
LC6, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but your time is up. Kindly turn off your webcam.
Thank you.
LC8. Now the next participant is LC8, and you have to speak against the motion.
Am I audible?
I'm not able to hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So when do I start?
On the count of 3.
Okay.
Purva ma'am.
LC8, can you see the timer on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, so on the count of 3, I'll start it.
Okay.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
A very good afternoon to all. My LC code is 8, and I'm speaking against the motion that biannual lockdown is not a solution to save the environment. The reason I'm saying this is because during the pandemic which we are currently facing, a global pandemic of coronavirus, every country or major countries are put under lockdown, and there's a common characteristic that can be seen which is affecting the environment on a very larger scale. Firstly, there has been an increase in the volume of unreusable and unrecyclable waste. Secondly, there has been increase in the poaching of animals. Since it is a lockdown period,
These forest areas are not being monitored anymore. Hence, humans find a way, a solution to kill more and more tigers and elephants and rhinos so that they can have an access to their horns, skin, and whatnot. Thirdly, according to the UN report, the illegal deforestation pre-lockdown was less, but now it has increased with 1.75%, which is clearly showing that that lockdown is not a solution. It's not an actual solution. It's not a permanent solution. Let's take, even if a lockdown is pre-planned, it will affect the economy. If you shut the country from working, it will affect the economy very simply. So let's take an example. Between the year of 2009 and 10, there has been an increase of a global carbon emission of 6% because there was economic crisis. And history has always shown that whenever there's an economic crisis, when the country starts working to uplift its crisis, there has always been a major impact onto the environment. Secondly, let's take the example of China, which is in post-lockdown period. As my learned friend has spoken, how the carbon dioxide emissions were less. However, I'd like to highlight the fact that nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide has been increased with a percentage of 6.95%. So is a biannual lockdown a true solution? No. This is a very temporary solution because maybe, yes, it may affect for that period of time. But the minute the lockdown is lifted, people are going to go back to their original position and exploit the nature and more and more and more and more. So what is the true? What is the true way of sustaining the environment? The true way of protecting the environment is working on it every day. For example, sustainable development, moving towards more cleaner resources like the wind energy, the solar energy, effective waste management. This is when you see effect when you see the results. A lockdown is a very temporary solution. Working on the environment is the true result. Working on the environment will be the true result when we work on it every day. Having a lockdown twice a day will never give you the efficient and the desired result. The desired result is only achievable, only possible when you work on the environment every day. I like to conclude by simply saying that yes, we have one earth, our home, our mother nature. We have to look forward to protect it, but biannual lockdown is not a solution. Working on the environment every day is the solution. It is our home. Let's take care of it. And every day when you do something, I'm pretty sure everything you do matters in some way. Thank you very much.
LC6,
Yeah.
you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Yeah.
On the count of 3, your timer will start. 1, 2, 3.
I would like to point out two things when LC8 spoke about. One, saying that it would affect the economy. I agree that to a certain extent it would affect our economy. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 31% of India's population work during the weekends. Considering the same, if done on a similar day, how drastically could this affect the economy is my first question. And the second question, when you say it's a temporary solution, I believe there is no permanent solution itself. Our environment is getting degraded for a very long period of time. And we have never seen a constant economic balance for a very long period of time. And doing these temporary lockdowns or mandatory lockdowns for a continuous basis, it would help us to preserve our environment for a longer period of time, though maybe not permanent. Thank you.
May I
Thank you, both of you.
When do I start?
LC8, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Yeah.
On the count of
3. Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
As my learner's friend has spoken about it being a temporary solution. It is a temporary solution. We need to work on the environment every day. Working twice a day will never suffice. Firstly, with regards to economy, whenever the economy of the country has been affected, the simple thing is that if the economy is affected, everything is affected. Not only health, not only the money, but even the environment. So when the economy is down, people work more harder. So once the lockdown is uplifted, people will work so hard that they will exploit nature more and more rather than their normal exploitation. The increase will be more. So having a temporary solution is not a solution. Having a permanent solution is a true solution. So working on the environment every day will definitely give the result that we want, because environment, after all, is something that we need to look at just not for twice a year, but every day when we get up, we should work on it by simply putting switching off the tap waters, not using too much electrics. These are the sources that we do by ourselves that will help. Not doing it twice a year, lockdown will affect so much. So I conclude by saying that yes, working for the environment every day is something that we need to look forward. A temporary solution is not a solution at
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Now the next team is LC9 and LC11. LC9, you have to speak for the motion. You'll be getting 3 minutes and you'll start speaking on the count of three.
Can we have your video on, please? LC9. Is this
I've
LC9? Please switch on your video. Yeah. He's unmuted, right?
yes, he's not showing. I mean, it's not the name is showing, not his.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's Alpha.
LC9.
I have renamed.
Kindly rename yourself. Yeah.
Done.
I have renamed.
Okay. Could we have LC9 switch on his video, please?
He has. Can you? His audio is not here. Can you speak up, LC9?
LC9, you need to unmute yourself, please.
LC9, please take off your speaker and plug it in again because we can't hear you.
No, you're not audible. Have you switched on joined in through the computer audio? You get an option when you join in. You're not at all audible.
Okay, can you try taking off your earphones completely and speaking directly into the computer or system that you're using? If it has a microphone.
No, I think you have not turned on your join in through audio. Could you please? Okay, so you're still not audible. I think you need to rejoin.
He needs to unmute himself. LC9, you have to unmute yourself from your side.
There's a microphone option on your screen. Click the screen and you'll get a microphone option.
Yeah, next to your video would have been the microphone option.
Kindly give us 2 minutes. We can keep this team in the.
He's come.
Perfect. LC9, please switch on your video now. Yes. Could you just say something so that we can. We've lost your voice again. No, you're still not audible.
Can we?
Please unplug it. I think the problem is with the headset. So, because we could hear you momentarily in the. Yes. Yes. You are audible.
Okay, so can I start now? Can I speak now?
Let me just confirm with the judges. You need to speak a little slowly because I feel you are facing network issues. Okay. Sir, sir.
No, his voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear it clearly.
Yes. LC9, could you please?
Can I just reconnect it again? Just reconnect it. So
we'll take you after this next. Is our next team in the waiting room, Navneeta ma'am? So we can have the next team first and then.
Yes, okay, it's fine with me. I will just clear if there's some
only one member is missing, so yeah.
Okay.
I just leave this on, right?
Your network issue, you're suffering from network issues. We'll just ask Mohit to start off with ask the next team to log in.
I have informed Mohit.
I request the judges to take a refreshment break for 2 minutes till then, and the participants to hold on till we get our technical issues sorted. Um, LC9, you can till then just try to rejoin the meeting and check with your audio. LC9, has he left? Why don't you just rejoin the meeting? Okay. Till we, yeah, and just check. I think there's a network issue from your end. Navneeta ma'am?
Yes, Purva ma'am.
The member along with him, LC11, in case we take the next team.
I will.
Yes.
LC9 has again rejoined. Let's see if his audio is working.
Am I audible now?
Is this LC9?
Yes.
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll just wait for the judges
Okay.
to get back, and then we'll begin. I can't see your video. Yeah, I can see it now. Thank you. Okay. Navneeta ma'am, is LC11 here?
LC11 is here, ma'am. Purva ma'am.
Okay, so we'll just get a confirmation from the judges. Sneha ma'am, since I think Rajiv sir is on mute. So, Shaswati ma'am,
Yes.
are you ready? If after we get a confirmation, can we begin?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Rajiv sir?
Yeah, I'm just joining you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm there now.
Okay. So, LC9?
Yes.
On the count of 3?
Purva ma'am.
Yes.
Mine hasn't named properly.
Sorry?
Who is?
Who has?
He hasn't named properly. He has written wrong LC2.
You're talking about?
LC9.
Okay. I can't see him. So if you could just rename him. LC9, are you here?
Yes, I have already renamed it.
Oh, you are LC11. You've renamed yourself as LC11.
Into LC11.
Okay. So you're now.
But
Okay,
I don't know.
It's okay. On the count of 3, please be prepared. On the count of 3.
No, hello.
Yes.
Hello. He is LC9 or LC11?
He's LC9.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
LC9, you be prepared. I'm starting the countdown. On the count
right.
of 3, your timer will begin. Okay. So
fine.
1, 2, 3.
I can't see you.
Good afternoon, one and all. Today's topic on which we are debating is the mandatory lockdown, biannual mandatory lockdown for environmental protection. To debate this topic, we must go through some data. The air pollution and other types of pollution like water and noise pollution around the world affects a lot of health issues in different people, most probably who live in urban areas like Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad, or for instance like New York cities. But the data of World Health Organization estimates that about 3 million people die each year caused from because of ailments caused by air pollution, and that more than 80% of people living in urban areas are exposed to air quality levels that exceed safe limits. The situation is worse in low income countries like India, where 98% of the cities fail to meet the WHO air quality standards. As we all know, the national capital of this country, where which is the most polluted uh, capital in the world. The but this lockdown has brought immense amount of environmental protection. We can see around us, we live in urban areas, we can see the huge impact of this lockdown on the environmental, on the flora and fauna around us. The data of UK and New York, in a research done by NASA, 2 weeks after a nationwide lockdown was announced in UK on 23rd March, pollution level fell by around 60%, and in New York, the NO2 pollution and other major metropolitan areas in northeastern USA was 30% lower as compared to which it was last year. Like in compared to 2019, it reduced in UK from 60% and 30% in New York. So this is the data we can see around the world in developed countries like UK and New York, which is comparatively less polluted than India. But when we look at the data of India, where around the same time the lockdown was announced on March 24, which is the same as UK, we can see by data that the PM 2.5 of nitrogen dioxide, which is released by vehicles and power plants, which is smaller, which is like of 2.5 micrometers in diameter. It is considered particularly dangerous as it can lodge deep into lungs and pass into organs and the bloodstream, causing serious health risk. So this has fallen in a large number after the lockdown was announced in March 24. So now, as we go forward in future, the use of lockdown is very important in curbing the pollution, as because it not only curbs the pollution, but it is also effectively very quick. It reduces the pollution very quickly, as the lockdown was announced in March and now we are in June. The amount of air pollution which has been decreased
Thank
in
you.
in cities like Delhi is very high. So the sudden fall in pollutants and the subsequent blue skies signal a dramatic shift for India, which has 21 of the
Thank you.
world's.
Thank you. Your time is up. Yeah.
Now the next
Elsie.
participant is LC11. LC11, you have to speak against the motion. You'll be getting 3 minutes and you will be starting on the count of three.
Yes, ma'am. Could we just do an audio video check if that's acceptable?
Yes, you're
Am I
visible and
audible?
your audio is perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
Are you ready? On the count of three, I'll start the timer.
Ready when you
Yeah.
are.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so my worthy opponent has put forth quite some valuable points, and not as the legacy debate. I'm not going to start by just slicing and dicing his arguments and putting him down. I'm going to agree with most of what he said and then oppose it because that makes more logical sense to me. So, as we know, he mentioned US and UK and their carbon footprint. Let me tell you, the US and China were a part of the Paris Agreement. The US is the only country who's a part of the UNFCCC who has withdrawn itself from the Paris Agreement. Of course, the other countries being Iran and Turkey. Now, let us see whether this is even applicable. Let us see from the legal perspective, from the social perspective, from the economic perspective. Now, let's take all these things together. Ideally, this was implemented by the government under the DMA, the Disaster Management Act, and the Epidemic Disease Act, the EDA. Now, in this case, after we are out of this, the debate is about should we extend this biannually? Does the government even have the right to do it? And yes, if it does, I'll be the first person to put a PIL against it. I'll tell you why. It is because The the EDA is an archaic act. It's born in 1897, sorry. And as per the constitution, any law that was born before the first republic is allowed to survive only if it passes something called the Agni Pariksha of the constitution. That has not happened. So in case of this Disaster Management Act, the government is only allowed two things: the movement of vessels at ports and the detention of vessels at ports. So that is gone. Now, Section 11.3 of this Disaster Management Act also gives powers to nation, state, and districts. Let us take that away. Let us argue from the constitutional perspective. Article 21 gives us an absolute right to life. Now, right to life also includes the right to livelihood. By saying that there's going to be a biannual lockout, you are actually denying me the right to livelihood. And that cannot be entertained. Of course, if you read Article 256 and somehow club it and read it with the Disaster Management Act, it is the obligation of state and union territory to do that. But there is also Article 39, especially Article 39, subsection A and E, tells the government to ensure that the citizens have a right to livelihood. How can the government ensure a citizen has to livelihood by doing this? It is a directive principle of the state policy. And now I just have half a minute. So let me tell you how people are going to contradict it. You tell them these 15 days are going to be locked down, so they will not have pollution. No, you're sadly mistaken. They will cover up the quota of production in these 15 days just before that. So if I have an export order or if I have an order to furnish and I know it's going to take so much pollution, I will do it in advance and then rest for 15 days. None of my orders, none of my pollution, nothing is going to decrease. And China has 9.2 billion tons of greenhouse gases. It is not commenting anything. And we at 3.3% are doing regulations of shutting down our country 2 times. I rest my case.
LC9, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Yes. So as my friend suggested that
On the count of
You
three. On the count of three. One. I'll start the timer. 1, 2, 3.
as my friend suggested that is this possible legally, and does the constitution allow it? If we have fundamental rights in article 21, right to life, but the right to principal policy also has also suggests that the government should protect work in protection of work to protect the environment and to increase the flora and fauna around us. And right to life does not only mean that you have the right to live around. It also goes on to say that you have the right to live in a environment which is good. I'm not only one who is saying this, saying that the lockdown should be implemented. Mr. Manish Kumar Singh, who is assistant professor at IIT Gandhinagar, said that lockdown should be used in to for curbing the environmental protection. So, as my friend suggests, if my friend has any other argument that other than the lockdown, what is the best possible way for improvement of the environment, he should put forward that points.
LC11, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. You will start on the count of 3.
Are you ready? LC11, I
Why
can't.
isn't he? Okay, he's not unmuted. Can you unmute from your end?
Yeah. Sorry, I was put on mute, so I could not speak. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
On the count of 3, your timer will start. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome. So my worthy opponent has put forth a point, which is an opinion from a professor. Now, let me tell you a better opinion. Morarji Desai, in the 44th Amendment of the Constitution, because Indira Gandhi blatantly misused the emergency, he changed the concept of an emergency, financial emergency and normal emergency, only to include armed rebellion. Now, it was also included that the right to life under Article 21 and the right to double jeopardy and for self-incrimination are absolute rights. They cannot be taken away even during time of pandemic, even during the time of disaster, even during the time of emergency, be it financial or economical or state emergency. Now, I don't understand how this particular argument holds true. It does not hold water in the substance based on a particular opinion by a professor in an industry. We are talking legal, cultural, social aspects and not a personal opinion. I also feel it might be done, but contextually, is it correct? My time's up.
Thank you, both of you. The next team is LC10 and LC12. LC10, LC10, you will be speaking for the motion and you will get 3 minutes. You'll start on the count of 3.
One, one
LC,
second, okay? One
yeah.
second. Yeah. LC10,
LC 10.
can you
You
unmute
need,
yourself?
and please switch on your
Yes,
camera.
hello.
Please switch on your camera. Yeah. So are you ready? On the count of 3, I will start the timer. Just, I
Okay.
can't hear your audio. Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
fine.
you. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Good morning, respected judges, professor, and my friends. A very happy World Environment Day to you all. I am LC10, and my topic for today is Introduction to Biannual Mandatory Lockdown for a Short Duration, a way ahead for environmental protection. Each coin has two sides. We have to choose a side, which
Sorry
is
to stop
according to the
you.
current situation.
Sorry to interrupt, but your video is not there. So I'll start your timer again. You can begin from the beginning.
Can you tell me if I am visible now?
Now you are, but
Okay.
when you were speaking, your screen wasn't there. So ensure that your video remains on and you don't open other tabs. Okay, so on the count of 3, I'll give you a fresh timer again. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, respected judges, professors, and my friends. A very happy World Environment Day to you all. My topic for today is Introduction to Biannual Mandatory Lockdown for a Short Duration, a way ahead for environmental protection. Every coin has two sides. We have to select a side which is according to a current situation and is important for the survival. Now let's take an example of a human body. A body to be healthy and to heal, it needs to go to a detox for at least 2 or 3 weeks. Same way, environment to be healthy need to go through a detox, which is called lockdown. Let me start with the air pollution. In 2019, an article was published in which 21 cities out of 30 cities were uh, were in India. It was the most polluted cities in the world. On March 2020, the government of India imposed a lockdown due to this to stop the spread of the epidemic, and this lockdown gave a surprising result on the environment. There was this decrease in the carbon emission by 25%. There was a rapid decrease in the pollution of Delhi, that was the most polluted city in India, by 49%, and there was overall 30% decrease in the pollution of India according to the NASA satellite data. Thus, uh, so let me move forward to the water pollution. In the case of MC Mehta versus Union of India, the Supreme Court government highlighted the constitutional framework and said that Article 49(8) says that the state should endeavor the importance and protect the forest, wildlife, and environment. And Article 51(a) says that it is the fundamental duty of every citizen to protect the environment. Now let me even the Clean Ganga Yamuna on Clean Yamuna project, on which more than 420 crores were spent, was there was no result of it. In fact, the quality of the river was worsened. But within 9 days of the lockdown, the water quality was converted from toxic to drinkable. Now let me address the elephant in the room, that is the economic slowdown. It was because of the sudden decision of the lockdown that it was a steep slope in the economy. But if the lockdown is prior planned or pre-planned or systematically planned by given a proper notice, the companies, government, or the entrepreneurs can make the adjustment and plan according to it and minimize the loss as much as possible. I like to conclude my argument by saying that as much environment climate change is real, and we cannot and
Thank you.
and we act like.
Thank you. Your time is up.
The
LC
next participant is LC12. LC12, you have to speak against the topic. You'll be getting 3 minutes, and you have to start on the count of three.
Are you ready, LC11?
Yes, yes.
I can. Yeah, your video
Am I
is on.
audible? Yes.
Yes, you're audible. Yeah, I can see your video. So on the count of three, you may begin speaking. One, two, three.
Good afternoon to one and all. I am LC12, virtually present before you to argue against the motion introduction of mandatory biannual lockdown, a way ahead for environmental protection. On 9th April, 13 European ministers said, these included Italian and Spanish ministers as well, they said that we should resist temptation for short term solutions. And that's exactly what lockdowns are. Lockdowns and short term solutions go against the very idea of sustainability. Furthermore, we cannot remove humans from the ecology. We cannot promote an idea or a philosophy where we are removing humans from the environment for the promotion of environmental protection. We need economy, equity, humans, and environment. Therefore, we cannot promote any idea, any policy that says environment only. We need policies that say environment too. Furthermore, many economists have said that environmental protection support lowers in economic recessions. That is something which you all have witnessed. This particular lockdown which we are facing because of COVID-19 is also given us a false sense of hope, a false sense of satisfaction that we are doing enough for the environment through these temporary measures. Because economists and environmentalists claim that as soon as the lockdown is lifted, the rates or the pollutants, everything will go back just the normal which we are used to, that is pre-lockdown period. And therefore we cannot promote these short-term duration or short-term solutions to our permanent environment problems. What we need is environmental protection, which requires consistent constant efforts. We have the groundwork, we have all we need, we know the problem, we know the solution. What we lack is commitment and implementation. We have international conferences and international conventions, national legislations, and everything else. However, political commitment and economical framework is what we are lacking presently. The same thing cannot be done away with in light of promoting or just proposing temporary lockdowns, which will just have a temporary solution till the last day of the lockdown. And as soon as the lockdown is relaxed or it is reinvoked, the things will go back to the normal. Therefore, what we need is greener technology, greener alternatives. We need environmental governance. These are the permanent solutions and not mandatory lockdowns, which will put the poor on the streets again, which will cause disharm, which will cause disharm to the rich, but harm to the poor. We cannot promote such an ideology. What I claim is that permanent solution is what the environment requires. That is what the humans need to give to the environment. And that is not something which the lockdown will ensure by locking humans inside their homes. Because as everybody is agreeing on the front, that as soon as the lockdown is lifted, the environment will be back on its earlier terms. The concern it will not stabilize everything. Thank you very much.
LC10, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Okay. On the name of industrialization and liberalization, why should Article 14, 19, and 20 should be infringed and at what cost?
Can we pause? I'll start the timer at the count of three. So you can start, okay? On the count of three, one, two, three.
On the name of industrialization and liberalization, why should Article 14, 19, and 20 should be infringed and at what cost? Hello?
Yeah, we were audible. Please continue. You have 1 minute. I hope you can see the timer.
Okay, actually, I was asking the question. Okay, and also I wanted to ask that why should the failure of the government to implement the environmental protection rules should be covered up? Should be covered up. Hello.
You're audible. Please continue.
You are audible.
You
You have
won't get
just
the
10
response.
seconds.
Yeah, please continue. Okay, your time is up.
Okay, LC12, you have
Yes.
1 minute for rebuttal on the count of three.
Uh, I can't see your video. LC12, your video is on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the count of three, you may start. One, two, three.
On the argument of Article 14, 19, and 21, these articles are not merely available to us, they are also available to the future generation. Everything, every single argument on sustainability comes to fore when we are discussing temporary lockdowns. Because these temporary lockdowns instill in us a false sense of satisfaction that we are doing enough. Furthermore, it's not about industrialization, it's about ecology, it's about humans in the environment and humans as part of the environment. We cannot see humans as part of the problem only. Humans are also part of the solution, and they are the only means of change. Because agreed that humans deplete the environment, but at the same time, they also save the environment, and they are presently the only one capable to bring about a change, to promote and ensure that environment is protected, it is not degraded. Therefore, I submit my submission that environment protection needs permanent solutions, not temporary lockdowns. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Next team is LC13 and LC15. LC13, you will be speaking for the motion. You have 3 minutes and you will start speaking as soon as the timer is set.
LC13, is your video on?
Please switch on your camera.
Camera is switched on. Am I
Yeah.
visible?
Yes, you are. Could you be a little more louder, please? Your voice is little.
Okay, is it fine now?
Yes, it is. So on the count of three, your timer will start. One,
Okay.
two, three.
With the closure of almost all kinds of institutions and the economic and transportational activities coming to a halt, the environmental condition is.
She's
I'm sorry.
one second. She's muted herself.
No, no, I'm really sorry. There was a call. Can we
Okay.
do something about it?
I'll set your timer again. Okay. You have 3 minutes
Yes,
to
thank
start. On the count of three. One,
you. Yes.
two, three.
With the closure of all kinds of institution and the industry and transportation activities coming to a halt or at least slowing down, the environmental conditions are sure to improve. Throughout history, it has been seen that even a short halt in the economic activities has proved to be beneficial for the environment. Be it the Black Death in the 14th century in Europe, or the Spanish flu in the 16th century, or smallpox in South America, or even the financial crisis in the year 2000 and 2009, all left remarks on the global emissions. In the year 2009 only, there was around 1.8% drop in the global emission. The combined emissions from industries constitute around 18.4% of global emission, and the transportation constitute one fourth of the total carbon emission of the world, of which driving constitutes 72%. So even when the lockdown ceases, it's not like people will be commuting 4 times a day. So these miles untraveled will remain so, and since it is a pre-planned lockdown, the economy won't be gearing up at 4 times speed, so the effects will last long. Coming to the stats, we see that the air quality index around world's major cities has improved. Like for example, in Delhi, last year it used to be around a monthly average of 161, and in March this year it fall down to 95. The global emission has decreased by 50% in Portugal and New York, by 20%, 25% in China, and also there has been 40% reduction in coal use. If we see in Europe, there was 6,000 fewer cases of asthma in children. There were 600 fewer preterm deliveries. So the stats suggest that there around 11,000 deaths due to pollution has been avoided in Europe itself. Also, one more aspect is we are pointed about towards the healing nature of the environment. Like the satellite images show that in Europe, UK, and Spain, the nitrogen dioxide level in the atmosphere is fading away on its own. Ganga is cleaner than it has been in decades. So the Namami Ganga plan, a center flagship program costing around hundreds of crores of rupees, what it couldn't do in all these years, has been done by the lockdown in mere period of 4 or 5 weeks. Thus,
All these point out that if the nature is left uninterrupted, it shall be beneficial. Also, going by the utilitarian argument, the benefits of the lockdown outweighs the some demerits, and all these money that which will be saved in uh, planting all these plants for waste treatment, water purifier, can be used for the benefit of the overall ecosystem. Also, I would like to point out that if we compare the benefits that this lockdown has done to the benefits of our even scheme or the Namami Ganga plan, we see that we got better result in the lockdown. The migratory flocks have been returning. We see the advent of olive turtles. So therefore, if the nature is left interrupted, it will surely be benefit. So yes, there should be a mandatory lockdown which shall be pre-planned, and yes, it should be there. Thank you.
The next participant is LC15. LC13, kindly switch off your camera.
Yes.
So the next participant is LC15, and you will be speaking against the topic. You will get 3 minutes, and you will start as soon as the timer is set.
Please switch on your camera.
It's on only.
Okay.
Am I visible?
Uh,
Am I visible?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are visible now. So on the count of three, you may start. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon to the judges. I'm going to speak against the motion, that is introduction to biannual lockdown, a way ahead to the environment. I'm going to speak against it. First and foremost, the word lockdown is no positive lockdown. It the term is negative in nature. Lockdown is the not only thing which has resulted in the environment drop, but it is having a lot many negative effects. If we look at history, whether it was Spanish flu, whether it was the 2008 and 2009 economic clash, it was seen that 1.3% there was a reduction in the carbon emission, even though there wasn't any kind of a lockdown. But because there was unemployment, there was no production, and there was many other factors that were contributing towards it. Today, this lockdown is going to give us some temporary effects, and here we do not need a painkiller, we need a treatment to heal the nature. Lockdown would not only render economic crisis, but also will enhance many other problems at home and everything kind of this. If we look at any other way to look forward for the environment, we have so many legislations, we have so many good treaties and conventions that look forward in order to improve the environment on this earth. From this corona COVID-19, we have realized that if the world can come all together at this time, therefore, if the world decides to come one together to fight COVID, it can also come together to save the environment. And lockdown is no such kind of solution that should be, taken up. It is one of the not even the last thing that anyone would take up. Because if you're taking up lockdown, that means we are a kind of, saying that our legislations are failing, our other ways are failing. What about the sustainable development where the models have been done, where we have the green energies being used? We should be using renewable energy, clean energy, rather than this lockdown. The lockdown is not going to be proven as a particular kind of a very good way to save this environment. And environment healing is something which is a gradual process, and we need to know that, I repeat again, painkiller nahi chahiye. We do not need a painkiller, we need a treatment to solve this issue. And history from the beginning, from the 1972 of the Stockholm conference till date, we all are creating that awareness. And yes, I feel that we should look forward in an eye-opener manner that COVID-19 has brought to us. It's an eye-opener towards the nation, and yes, not only the nation, the world, and the world should look forward in another way to improve the environment. Thank you.
LC13, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. So start on the count of 3.
LC13, is your camera on?
Yes, am I visible?
Yes, yes. Okay, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
the basic premise on which it is said that the lockdown is negative is based that in all the past events, the lockdown was because of a crisis situation and it was not a pre-planned lockdown and well informed. So people were not prepared. Now it about this I am suggesting is that there should be short-term pre-planned lockdown so people will be accordingly prepared. So just like we have vacations for a month, the lockdown will behave in the same way. It is not a crisis situation and people will be accordingly planned. And since, as I gave the example of Namami Ganga plan, all the economy that shall not be spent there can be used for the benefit of these people after the lockdown period. It is the aftermath of this all those lockdowns of financial crisis that led to the deterioration of environment and not the lockdown itself. But now in this case, it was a pre-planned lockdown. People will behave accordingly and know that even after the lockdown ceases, it's not they will be traveling 4 times or the economic activities will gear. Thank you.
LC15, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. So you will start speaking on the count of 3.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I can't see your video. It's on, right?
Yeah. Am I visible?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3.
My learned friend is talking about lockdown and talking about history, but the history proves that there was no lockdown, but there too there was a reduction in the emission and the environment. My learned friend has throughoutly pointed out at those stuffs which are past and not talking how the future lockdown, if she is going to support this cause of lockdown. My learned friend has not also aware of the fact that history has shown that whenever there is a sharp fall in this emission, it has always resulted in a boost to it. We should also make into this that my learned friend has not spoken of the future but has spoken of the past and what are the temporary effects. My learned friend needs to need aware about the fact that we need a treatment to this and we do not need a temporary outcome out of it, and this all what is temporary. Tomorrow it starts again, everything will be back together. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. The next team is LC14 and LC16.
Do we have
LC14, you have to speak for the motion. Is LC14 there?
Navneeta ma'am, is LC14?
LC14 has been
Hello.
LC
Hello.
And LC16?
16.
Is he
Yeah, I'm
16.
LC14. I'm LC14. Hi.
Yeah, so you have to speak for the motion. You'll be getting 3 minutes and you will be starting on the count of 3.
Pushpam, please.
Right. Please wait, Pushpam. Navneeta ma'am, are we waiting for LC16 to join?
He's stating he's there in the waiting room, but it's not visible.
So I think he was the one who joined it very early. So could you ask him to rejoin?
Yes, I have asked him.
LC14, kindly wait. We are awaiting your teammate.
Yes, ma'am.
Navneeta ma'am.
Team is ready, actually.
Sorry?
Next team is ready. LC16 is not there in the waiting room.
I think I just saw somebody join.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Next team is there in the waiting room, actually.
So can you put LC14 in the waiting room and admit the next team?
Yes.
LC14, we'll take you after this, the next team, since your partner is not here.
Oh, okay, ma'am. That's fine.
We'll put you back in the waiting room.
Sure.
So the next team is LC17 and LC18. We have LC17 here, right?
1 second. I mean, yes.
Okay, so LC17, you will be speaking for the motion. You will get 3 minutes.
One second. LC17 has not renamed himself. Namita, can you rename him?
I have.
Okay, thank you. LC17, can you try unmuting yourself?
I just did it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Yes.
Ma'am, can you see me?
Yes, you are visible.
Okay.
Navneeta ma'am, who is his team? Who's her teammate?
LC18.
He's also admitted in the room, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then we can start. LC17, on the count of 3, you can start with your arguments and your timer will start. Okay? So on the count of 1, 2, 3.
So
Shit,
I
sorry.
believe
I'm so sorry. Can you wait? On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
So I believe the time we've been living in for the past couple of months now is a time like no other. And personally, for the past 20 years of my life, I've never been in such a situation. This lockdown has indeed come with a number of advantages, and most of those advantages revolve around our health and our environment. For time immemorial, or for the time since I have faint memories from, I only seen unfettered growth, be it in terms of population or in terms of pollution levels, sea levels, vehicular traffic. It is growing and growing, and there is no stoppage. When it comes to us expecting things from Mother Nature, our expectations are very high end. But when it comes for us to give things back to Mother Nature, we do not match those levels. We are very unkind towards our earth. I've been reading the newspaper since this lockdown has started, and the only news that has been flooding down is pollution levels have dropped, carbon monoxide levels have dropped. It is the change that we are seeing. This lockdown is a reality check to us. It is showing us an image of how and in what circumstances we were living and what we actually can have. It is high time we need to understand that the abuse humans have been giving to Mother Earth has to stop, and we need to get up and put in our efforts, because today it is not only about surviving, it is about living healthy, and we can only live healthy if these kind of little initiatives, this lockdown, it is a beautiful initiative, although this was implemented for a reason, because uh, we could not let this pandemic engulf us all. So this was imposed due to a reason, but um, but an initiative like these little. Okay, one more thing I would like to say. I would, if you ask me, I would give this lockdown a synonym, and that synonym would be a break. And that is a break which is much needed, not only for us but for our environment also. And this idea of biannual lockdowns, it is amazing. I think I am totally in for this idea, and yeah, that's it.
The next participant is LC18. LC18, you have to speak against the topic. You will be getting 3 minutes, and you will start on the count of 3.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me in this debate competition. I'm going to speak against the motion. Actually, lockdown is not a great idea or a only solution for the environmental protection, because the lockdown. The more the environmental have been gained, also the economy have been also fall. For the recent years, there are many unemployment, poverty line, many people. The lockdown is not only for the people who have been above, and the people have been suffered like migration workers, everyone. For example, let's take example of this lockdown. In this period, the Indian government have lost of 180 millions that have been lost in Indian economy, and 80 percentage of resources are unemployment because of this lockdown period. And for example, industrial sector, I like to bring it up the Indian all India motor sector. The government, the general have been declared that they have in first 15 days they have been 35,200 crores have been lost. And before, as India is a developing country and it is a world most fastest developing country with a rate of 7.5 GDP rate, this is not a only solution. Lockdown is not a only solution. For example, we can take USA, Sweden. Those people have the substantial development. For example, substantial development. What is substantial development? Substantial development is something. Not destroying the natural resources or renewable resources. The wastelands have been improved for build and manufacturing of industries, and not and the growing of the agriculture things also. The substantial development is both the things have one side as economy and other side as an environment, because without environment there is no economy, and without economy there is no society. Both are irreplaceable. So I like to conclude that lockdown is not a better reason. We can develop as a substantial development in India, and policies regarding the substantial development, so that it will develop our country in all the resources, industrial sectors and natural resources too. Thank you so much.
LC17, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. So start on the count of three.
Yeah.
Are you unmuted? Yes. Okay, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so first, sorry, but I really think you diverted from the topic. It is primarily focusing on environment issue, and you were talking about the economy and other things. So I would like to correct you on one thing, that India has already lost its spot as the world's fastest growing major economy in 2019, because the growth rate of India was much slower as expected. And if you're talking about don't you think that this pandemic has engulfed more than half of the world already? Wasn't it the hour that the lockdown should have been done to prevent India to be the next China or Italy?
No, this lockdown, see the mandatory, it's gonna bi-annual mandatory. When you're going to amend it, and we have already occurred most of the economic losses, and it's not going to be succeed. We are not going to be come to the up to the level of developed countries. So
LC18, LC18, you
yes,
can
ma'am.
speak in. You can speak during your rebuttal time. You'll be given 1 minute now. Okay, it's not a discussion session, so kindly complete your rebuttal in 1 minute, and thereafter
Okay.
you'll be given one. Okay, so LC18, I'm setting your timer now. On the count of three, you can start your rebuttal. 1, 2, 3.
I do think that economy is more important as well as the environment, because with environment we cannot succeed that international level growth rate, or because when the environment continuously gain, we are lack of health, we will be losing our educational facilities, everything. So the environmental is gained and the economy should also gain, so that the substantial development will be more helpful for India.
Thank you. Pushpa?
Thank you, both of you. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Just 1 minute. Our next team is coming.
LC 17 and 18, you can switch off your video cameras now. We'll be starting with the next team, but we are waiting for them to join.
Done.
Okay, so the next team is LC14 and LC16. LC14, you have to speak for the emotion. You will get 3 minutes and you will start as soon as the timer is set.
Please switch on your video camera.
Give me a moment, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, I
am. Just a second. Navneeta ma'am, is LC16 also here?
Yes, Purva ma'am.
Okay. Please switch on your camera as LC16 so that I know that you have joined. On the count of 3, LC14, we shall begin. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am LC14 and I shall be speaking for the motion. Before presenting you to my motion, I shall quote to you Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy Bentham says that to understand the right and wrong approach, we need to see whether that is maximizing happiness and minimizing pain. When I quote this to you, I'm trying to tell you that the present motion, which is to have a biannual lockdown, cannot have an extreme approach, which is that there should be a lockdown or there shouldn't be a lockdown, right? So I have primarily 3 main arguments. That first is we need to understand the relationship between environment and economy, which is actually inversely proportional. By that, I mean, if you're sitting at home, not going to jobs, not going to work, we're actually not polluting the environment. And hence the environment actually will not be polluted and it will definitely get better, right? However, temporary this particular thing is, at this moment, by temporary lockdown, the government can actually move from non-renewable source of energy to renewable source of energy. My second argument to you is that obviously technology is a big issue here. However, at this present moment, we have seen that the courts have gone online. We have online courts. There is a committee by Justice Chandrachud, and he's heading the committee. He has made proposals for filing online, and there are recent Delhi High Court order in respect of that as well. My third argument to you is sustainable consumption and responsible consumption, which is Sustainable Development Goal 12. It says that for us to have a balanced approach, for us to need to understand that there is a difference between luxury and there is a difference between need, right? For us to have an environment, for us to have a sustainable environment, we need to balance the luxury and need. Whatever our needs are, we need to fulfill that. We do not need to go beyond luxury. My fourth argument to you is social security. Yes, we have an egalitarian economy and social security is an issue. However, government at this moment can take time to introduce one nation, one ration, and also the government can take time to introduce universal basic income. Universal basic income has been introduced in Finland and this experiment has actually worked. Of course, we have unskilled laborers. We have an economy where 73% of the people have 1% of the people actually have the 73% of the wealth, which is an Oxfam study. However, we can make temporary sustainable changes to make our environment a sustainable environment, because we do not have to compromise the need of the future generation for us to sustain in the present generation. Thank you.
The next participant is LC16. LC16, you will be speaking against the topic. You have 3 minutes and you will start speaking after the timer is set.
LC16, you can switch on your video camera. Till then, I would just like to confirm with our judge, Advocate Rajiv, if he's facing any technical difficulty. Sneha ma'am, can you unmute him?
Yeah, to some extent there was a video problem, but now it is okay. But
Okay.
I couldn't see LC 17 to some extent. 17 and
Okay.
18 both. Yeah, but it's okay, fine. I could have audio of them, so that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I'll call upon LC. LC?
LC16.
LC16 now. LC16, is your video camera on?
Yes.
Yeah, just a minute. Let me. On the count of 3, you can start your arguments. 1, 2, 3. Just a one moment. Sorry. Yeah, on the count of 3, you may start. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, as the motion is that introduction of biannual mandatory lockdowns for short durations, and as I am against the motion, I would like to build a few points and a few interrelation between the causality of what is a lockdown and what effects does it bring on a socio-political, economical, and technological perspective. That is the best analysis I would like to do. So first of all, I would like to quote a saying, which is a very famous saying from the very historical past. That is, to avoid one mishappening, you cannot create another. So what I believe is a lockdown which can be imposed is a certain provision, which is something to be adopted under a last resort. So it cannot be a policy to be implemented in governmental administration and a nationwide scale. Lockdown is something which is something which is unexpected, which comes after everything has worked out and there is no resort left. It is that kind of thing, and it has a very disastrous, that is a very catastrophic effect on the 4 points which I have mentioned, that is the political, economical, social, and technological. As we have seen what this lockdown has brought to us, it might seem that this lockdown is at an extent proper for this current situation which we are facing, but for the purpose of environmental protection, I would think a lockdown is something which is totally unacceptable. So what can we bring in the substitute for this lockdown is that we have we have our environmental law growing in such a level. We have various treaties which are actually governing to reduce environmental pollution, to protect environment. We have various famous treaties such as the Kyoto Protocol 1992, Paris Agreement, which has taken place recently in the 2015, and would like to bring in another point, that is the role of international courts in this whole process. That is, we have seen in the previous 2 years back that in the Costa Rica versus Nicaragua judgment, the ICJ has given sanctions in compensation that the Nicaragua government has to pay to Costa Rica for the violations of environmental laws. So what I'm trying to build here is that lockdown is not a measure to stop environmental threat, and it is not a measure to impose for environmental purposes. Thank you.
LC14.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Yes.
Start speaking when the timer is set.
Yes.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yes. So my one rebuttal is my friend couldn't understand the motion. The motion is that we are not putting a lockdown in an exceptional circumstances. There is no circumstances. It's a normal condition, and we are going for a planned transition, just and planned transition to sustainable development. This is going to be a planned. This is going to be a planned biannual lockdown. The government is the social security. The government is going to take care about technology. The government is going to take care about all the things that this happened. You cannot compare the COVID-19 situation with the kind of lockdown that we are talking about. Lockdown can actually be understood in normal circumstances as well. Lockdown does not necessarily have to be when there is a pandemic or when there is a life-threatening situation. So I think another point to you is, my friend never told us why exactly the lockdown should not be enacted by the government. My friend said that the government, it shouldn't be. I'm sorry, the time is up. That's fine.
LC16, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Okay.
Just a moment. I'm trying to set the timer. Yeah. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, to counter the misconception which my friend is having on lockdown means a closure. Means when people do not get out of their houses, there is a curfew imposed. So to tell that you can, I have already quoted the example that you cannot, to avoid one misconception, you cannot create another one. When a lockdown is imposed, we have already witnessed the amount of things we are facing, and that the whole machinery of the state is suspended. And this is somewhat kind of a emergency provision which is nowhere been written, but it is somehow implemented by arbitrary power of the government, and that this cannot be challenged anywhere in court of law, because today everything is suspended. And the thing is that environmental protection must be done when things are working, and not to the prevention of environment. You cannot make another violation or something.
Thank you, both of you. Ma'am, do we have our next team ready?
One sec, I just have to rename.
The participants who are done with the debate can switch off their cameras. It will be convenient for the other participants. Thank you.
Yes.
So the next team is LC19 and LC20. LC19, you will be speaking for the motion. You have 3 minutes. Start once the timer is set.
Pushpam, 1 second, Purva. Could you check with LC20? She's not connected her, he or she's not connected her mic. LC20, if you can hear us, you have to connect your mic. Yeah, done. Now you can go ahead, Pushpam.
LC19, you have to speak for the motion. You'll be getting 3 minutes and start speaking once the timer is set.
Okay.
On the count of 3, I'll start the timer. 1,
Yes.
2, 3.
Good afternoon, all. This is a debate
Please
for.
hold on.
Hello.
Please wait, LC19. Yeah, please wait. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, all. This is the debate. Subject is the introduction of biannual mandatory lockdowns for short duration, a way ahead of environment protection. Now we are all witnessing the lockdown because of COVID-19 pandemic, and this lockdown has shown us that planet has given much needed breath fresh air, and with air pollution levels dropping dramatically in major cities worldwide. As per World Air Quality Report 2019, India is one of the highly polluted countries in the world. After the government implemented the nationwide lockdown, various cities in India witnessed significant reduction in their pollution level. In New Delhi, the level of PM 2.5 particles reduced from 91 micrograms per cubic meter to 26 microgram per cubic.
Sorry, LC19, I'm gonna have to stop you because I think your video camera is off or you've put on your image. We are not able to.
Just a minute, madam. Hello. You can see.
Yes. Okay. So, yes. Please don't pause your video camera.
Pause.
I'm gonna
I have to
continue
pause.
the timer. If
I
no,
have
you
to
don't
pause.
have to pause.
Hello.
No.
No. Okay.
Please continue. I'm not going to reset your timer because
Okay.
you spoke for
Okay.
1
Okay.
minute.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Now
gonna reset. Thank
this similar trend has been seen across the all over cities in India. Nitrogen oxygen nitrogen oxide level also seem to be reduction to 40 to 50%, and we can see the rivers like Ganga and Yamuna is much clearer water uh, from what government is trying for to clean the water from last decade and paying thousands of crore, but they cannot do. But this lockdown has done very surely. And Supreme Court former Judge Deepak Gupta has also said that it is very important and amazing to see that what Supreme Court cannot do, that this lockdown has done to the our environment. There has been a drastic reduction in the greenhouse greenhouse gases, and also minimal burning of fossil fuels. We can also see that there are animals who are roaming around the road because of there is no human traffic on the road. It also happened because of our lockdown. And main is this positive environment impact can be seen all over the world, as all over the world is locked down because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Then here is it's a main basic is that the planet belongs to all living creature, but we human see that it is only for human. It is not that, because human come existent in after the in many animals was existed on the planet. So we have already damaged the our environment and planet to the extent that we are in the danger of survivor of all creature. So, seeing all this scenario, we must strictly taken. We have to take the serious steps to reduce the pollution. And there is a one way that this type of lockdown is necessary for the saving the planet and saving the creature.
Thank you, LC19.
The next participant is LC20. LC20, you will be speaking against the motion. You will get 3 minutes and start speaking once the timer is set. On the count of 3, please wait.
Okay. Unmute yourself. You have muted yourself. There'll be a unmute button on your screen.
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So on the count of 3, you may start. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm LC20, and I'm here to speak against the motion which has been raised in the House. Now, I, in very acerbic terms, stand against this notion because I believe that this is nothing but a mockery of rule of law. Now, there should be no arbitrariness on the part of the government, and imposing this biannual mandatory lockdown is one such example. We can take the example of the current pandemic situation by this, that often we have faced a lot of carbon emission reduction during this lockdown, but and we have breathed a cleaner air. But I want to ask you that, is this a temporary solution or a permanent one? The wounds which we have caused to the mother nature, and now we are trying to make it a greener place just by revolving the magic wand of lockdown. Environmentalists believe that the calmer emissions which have caused will go back to the pre-colonial level once this lockdown mitigates. Sustainability is not something which can be achieved in a short-term base, but it can be achieved in a long run. This lockdown is only and only targeting the minority of people, those who have salarified jobs, those who have enough of money to have stock in their fridges, and those who have a house to be indoor, whom it is not favoring is the people those who are suffering from a larger threat, like health and other homelessness problems. We can take the example of India, where there are 37% of the population are depending on interstate migrant workers, those who work on daily wage earners. How will the government enhance and provide facilities twice in a year to such large population? This lockdown has also went to complete crash in the economy, as even the larger nations like America and India could not cope up with the repercussions of this lockdown. India is losing nearly 32,000 crores and more than that every day, because the major sectors like oil, steel and automobiles are being shut down. Even I would like to point out that people may say that there have been a large reduction in the cases of crime, but I don't find to understand that will this lockdown will change the psychology or the mindset of the criminals? No, I would point out that 54.2% of the people of Bangladesh are suffering from sexual harassment and domestic violence. There has been 92,000 SOS calls received for child abuses. 30% rise in the cases in Australia and 45% rise in the cases in US relating to such problems. People are also getting the disease like stress, hypertension, anxiety, depression, etc. How will you favor to the people those who have much severe diseases where there is no transport facilities? This lockdown is largely affecting to the educational sector, to the people, to the children those who are enrolled for the professional courses. How will they cope up with this situation now in this time where public
Thank
outcry has
you.
been? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
LC19, you
Yes,
have
yes.
1 minute. You have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start when the timer is set.
Okay.
Is
Please
everybody?
switch on your camera.
Yeah.
Camera is on, madam.
We can't see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
LC19. I can't. Can you?
Hello.
Yeah, your video camera, is it on?
Yes.
Yes. Now it's visible. Thank you.
Okay.
On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Now, madam, what is LC20 has elaborated in their speech. I have to what is that she has mentioned as sustainable development. We have talking about a sustainable development from last 1980, but only on this paper. But we cannot properly implement it till now. So, what is sustainable development? When will be implemented? And when basic is that if all human or all living creature will not survive, what is the purpose and need of industrial growth? This industrial growth and pollution is creating such havoc that we all living creature will not sustain or will not survive more than 50 years after this period. So my opinion is that this biannual lockdown is necessary, and it is a very much needed step. Thank you.
LC20, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
As my
LC20.
co
On the count of 3, please.
okay.
1, 2, 3.
As my co-competitor has mentioned that this biannual lockdown is mandatory, so I want to ask, I'm not saying that people should not move towards the future of refined choices, but we can't not risk the life of so many people just to get fresh air and cleaner environment. How will you justify the deaths and the thousands of migrant workers, those who are traveling unbelievable distances on foot? The government cannot implement such larger policies twice a year to such huge population. How will you enhance the economy of your country where there is twice a lockdown, where there is 32,000 crore and more than that India is losing every day? I will not be in favor of this situation because it will worsen the situation more than that, even instead of improving it. Because in introduction of this biannual mandatory lockdown, it's arbitrary form, and all the bits and fancies of the people are working with this government
Thank you.
will be in very acerbic terms against the notion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, is the next team ready?
LC22 is just joining. Like it's getting loaded. Yes, they are. Yes, they are ready.
Okay, ma'am. So the next team is LC21 and LC22. LC21, you have to speak for the motion. You'll be getting 3 minutes and start speaking once the timer is set.
LC21, can you switch off your camera? Switch on your camera, please. Yes. Okay. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, on the count of three, I'll start the timer. 1, 2, 3.
Sure. I strongly support this idea, madam, with my following arguments. We sleep at night to wake up fresh in the morning. We ask a sick patient to rest. But did we ever ask our polluted and tortured environment to rest? A big no. With this lockdown, basically, we have seen a positive effects on environment, which is local as well as global. Environmental effects are seen on the air, water, wildlife, everywhere. We are seeing Himalayan ranges from Jalandhar, which is 200 kilometers away. Air, if we see, there are a decrease in pollutants from nitrogen oxide, if we nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide, which is emitted from vehicles and industries, because they are not working now. Even aeroplanes are not working, which led to decrease in hydrocarbons and emissions from their fluid tanks, and even which are depleting the ozone layer. This has been shown by data from US, that is NASA, as well as European space agencies, showing that there is 30% decrease in nitrogen dioxide emission in China itself and North Italy, where mandatory lockdown is followed. Also, India data basically suffer is showing that there is decrease in carbon dioxide in about 30% in Delhi itself, and there is also decrease in PM 2.5 and PM 10 in Mumbai by 48%. Even the construction works are not working. So basically, that is also one of the major cause of air pollution in Delhi. Other data of National Air Quality Index are also showing that 34 places across India, there is decrease in air pollution, which is a very nice sign. Even ozone layer is depleting. Water level is also rising and rivers are becoming clearer, like Ganga and Yamuna. And because there is less, they are lesser polluted and no water is used for industries. Wildlife, basically plants and animals are also happy basically because they are not affected by human tendency, and we can see more and more animals in Bolivia National Park also nowadays. With vegetation, they are not cut and the green environment is increasing. On health, if we see, madam, basically there is increase. There is with air pollution, there is about 7 million deaths worldwide, but with decrease in air pollution, there is a decrease in the deaths, as well as basically with one of the Professor Burka, basically he said that with decrease in nitrogen oxide levels and PM10 levels by even 10 micromillimeters, there is a saving of life of 4,000 children and 37,000 elderly. Other communicable diseases also are becoming less nowadays, and basically that is like TB and other diseases also becoming less. This is basically, I can even suggest that lockdown has a effect on family effects also. Family are living together, they are giving greater ideas, and culture is also increasing nowadays. This idea is real sustainable. When in future, if I don't mind if we have 2 vacations, like we have summer and winter vacation nowadays. We have found that our needs are very less and we can live with limited resources. Thank you, ma'am.
The next participant is LC22. LC22, you will be speaking against the motion. LC21, please turn off your camera. Thank you. LC22, you will be speaking against the motion. You will get 3 minutes and start speaking when the timer is set.
Can you please switch on your camera? I can't.
Yes. Ma'am, can you see me?
Yes. You are audible too.
Am I
Okay,
audible?
so are you ready on the
Yes.
On the count of 3, I'm going to turn on the timer. 1, 2, 3.
Respected jury, teachers, and my fellow mates, a very good afternoon to one and all. I stand before you and take this opportunity to express my views against the motion of the topic Introduction to Biannual Mandatory Lockdown for Short Duration, a Way Ahead for Environmental Protection. Before starting, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela, and I quote, "It is in our hands to create a better world for all to live in it." I unquote. Firstly, I would like to explain the topic very briefly. Biannual mandatory lockdown. Biannual refers to anything that occurs twice a year. Mandatory refers to something that is obligatory and binding. And lockdown refers to an institution or a state of isolation which is instituted as a security measure. So the topic briefly states that if there is a lockdown twice a year in a country, then this would lead to environmental protection. But the question that comes in my mind, how lockdown and environmental protection interlink with each other? Currently, the world is suffering from a pandemic that was unimaginable a few months ago. The COVID-19 has transformed the whole world, because of which the government of various countries instituted a lockdown, which led to the stoppage of industries, businesses, transport sector, and various other economic activities, which led to decrease in the carbon emission. But a question that comes in my mind is, what will happen when these things come back to normal, when the life goes back to normal? Will the carbon emissions bounce back as if the clear sky interlude never happened? History speaks and history tells us whenever in past such decrease in the carbon emission have been seen, more sharp increase has been seen once the things have rebound to normal. Take for example South America, where there was an epidemic of smallpox. Similar state of downfall was seen in carbon emission, but the same increased because life went to normal. This lockdown has affected millions of people. Millions of people have lost their jobs. Millions of resources have been wasted. Millions of things, and people who are educated also are currently unemployed. So, this is the way that we wanted our environment to get improved. I think so. The answer is no. So, in my view, introduction to biannual mandatory lockdown for short duration should not be considered as a potential way to environmental protection. Also, in the end, I would like to state that a mass destruction that has been caused by COVID-19, which has instituted the lockdown as first place, should not be seen as a way to protect the environment in any which way. And also, the said protection should only be seen through the change in our own lifestyles. And the things, if the lockdown is over and our lives go back to normal, we will start traveling again, things will go back to normal, and everything will go back to place. So will this be protected? I leave it to you. Thank you.
LC21. LC21, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
At the count
So,
of three, I'll switch on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Switch on your time. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, ma'am. My learned opponent has brought down. Three, four nice points. She said very nicely that basically this is not a final option. I agree with that. Basically, the only thing is, even I quote Jyoti Lavankar. She is a founder of a Air NGO. She said that obviously slowing down of a economy to such a dangerous levels is not advisable, but to bring down the air pollution on the lower side. But basically, we have to understand that we can achieve this. Though this pandemic was never expected. I also know that one smallpox was never expected, but the effect which has been coming out of this lockdown is tremendous and should be utilized. Number one. Number two, it's like a precautionary principle which does not have logic every time. We should only observe if there is a working. We should always go for it. Second, economy. We should always think economy is basically always like a mirage. We cannot achieve everything what we want. We want to happy or healthy. That's one thing we have to understand. And lastly, I have to say that there are hundreds of legislatures are there, but still we have not achieved the air pollution till date. It is Supreme Court has also quoted in one of the statements of Indian Council versus Environment Legal. Yeah, thank you.
LC22, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
1, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, my learned opponent very well said that carbon dioxide was seen in the reducing rate because the lockdown was there. And I addressed the issue, what will happen once the lockdown is over? The main thing that I always stated is, what will happen when the lockdown is over? Can we continue to stay in our houses forever? And also he said that logic comes when people work. Currently, we are not working. We are sitting at home. A less amount of population have so much resources and so much technology that they can work from their home. So here logic also does not apply at all. Also, there is a human tendency to go out to work. It's only by changing our lifestyles we can change the way towards seeing the environmental protection. We cannot sit at a house and say every time that lockdown can improve the environment, because it cannot. Once we go out and we start working, we start traveling, we start the industries, at that time we have to use the resources in such a way that we protect the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the next team is LC23 and LC24. LC23, LC23, you will be speaking for the motion. You have
Yes.
3 minutes. You
Okay.
have 3 minutes. No, start speaking. Start
No,
speaking when the time is
no,
set.
just a second. Just a second. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All
Yes, you're
right. Okay.
audible.
Yes. Yes. All right. All
Can you
right. I'll
switch on
start.
your, yeah. On the count of
It's already
3, I'll
switched on.
start the timer. Yeah, it's switched on.
It's already
Thank
switched
you.
on. My video. Okay.
Yes, I can see you. On the count of 3,
Yeah.
I'll switch on the timer. Okay, so 1,
Mhm.
2, 3.
Hi, everybody. So I'll start by quoting what our Prime Minister had to say when he extended the lockdown. So when the lockdown was extended, our Prime Minister comes and says that "Jaan bhi zaruri hai aur jahan bhi zaruri hai," which necessarily means that both are important, the life as well as the livelihood. When the lockdown was first introduced, nobody had actually thought of what would be the positive environmental benefits out of it. But as we all can see now, our rivers are more cleaner. The air we breathe, we can actually see the air we breathe. In fact, there were videos and photos which are shared on almost all social media platforms, uh, showing the Himalayan ranges just 140 kilometers away from Ludhiana. So these are certain things. These are certain environmental aspects which we had never actually thought of. But all this has happened because of the lockdown. And of course, there has to be a trade-off between the life as well as the economy. But in that case, I think the life would always matter more. Few things which I wanted to share is one, out of 30 most polluted cities in the world, 21 are in India. Our major cities, our metro cities are nothing less than the gas chambers itself. If I can give you the example of Delhi at times has breached the top limit, the highest limit of air quality index, which is 500. So at various occasions, it has breached that as well. At certain point in time, it had recorded a air quality index of 550, which is not worth living at all. Just after lockdown, just after 7 days, we can see that the air quality index has come down to 109 and 150 in certain cases, which is commendable. And this all happened just in a 7 days span, not more than that. In fact, if you see the quality of water, uh, the uh, the ratio of dissolved oxygen, it was also increased drastically. Besides that, in India, we lose 1.2 million people out of environmental pollution, out of just air pollution. Though it is an extreme space, it's an extreme step, yes, but these are extreme times, and we actually require to take these extreme steps so as to give our children, our next generation, the kind of India which we have not been able to live. That's all from me, son. That's all.
Okay, thank you. The next participant is LC24. LC24, you will be speaking against the motion.
Ma'am,
LC23.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your video.
and my video is visible. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
it is visible, and your audio is also there.
Okay.
Are you ready? So I'll start the timer on the count of 3.
Oh, fine.
1, 2, 3.
A marvelous afternoon to the dignitaries. This is LC24 speaking against the motion. As my worthy opponent has said that Jahan B and Jahan B, for creating the Jahan where you
where you can live properly, then you have to maintain the economic balance as well as the environmental balance. So to make Jahan very much habitable, then you can own self develop betterment towards the nature, such as we have seen the Ganga action plan and Yamuna action plans, etc., where you can take more and more money and take more and more money and take more and more consciousness into the people and increase the workshops to clean the environment. And with the development of with the development of own mind, we can have a clear environment in that. And certain lockdowns have certain very bad effects as well, such as I'll quote into 3 to 4 points. First point will be the sudden increase in the domestic energy. When there will be more and more people at home, then there will be sudden increase in the domestic energy, and as there will be the more and more consumption of the domestic energy, then it will put the ill effects onto the nature, such as we know one example I remember, that is the Three Gorges Dam of China, which has slower down the rotation of Earth. So it is an ill effect. If you put on more and more lockdown, then people will be more and more at home, and it will be an ill effect towards the nature, which in long course is a very difficult thing. The second point I will go on is the sudden increase and decrease in the CO2 consumption. As there will be sudden increase and decrease in CO2 consumption, as we all know that CO2 is a greenhouse gas. When more and more when there will be a sudden decrease in particular gas in nature, then it will in future time it will reverberate into the world, and it might increase the temperature or decrease the temperature of the earth, which in long course can be very difficult to tackle up. The third point I will go on is the economic crisis that we are seeing. If we want Jan as well as Jahan, then Prime Minister also said that the Jahan must be done, that the Jahan in which we are living must also have the economic equalities as well. And for that economic equalities, we should have running our economic properties and economic procedures. And for that, we can develop ourselves, we can develop the workshops, we can develop the mental ability to save the nature, and we can do various plans such as rhodium platinum silencers. We can do the less emission of greenhouse gases, and we can clean the rivers by developing our concerns, not of other things. Thank you.
LC23, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start
Alright.
speaking when the timer is set.
Okay.
On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
When my learned opponent was talking about the bad effects, the ill effect of lockdown, she first pointed out that there would be increase in domestic energy. Well, of course, there would be increase in domestic energy, but at the same time, there would also be a lot of savings due to non-functioning of industries. She very well knows that much of the consumption happens from the industrial area, not the domestic area. Second is regarding CO2 consumption. Well, I think the most contributing factor in CO2 consumption is vehicular pollution. Now, for vehicular pollution, if she goes ahead and suggests that she can go on, that we can have odd even formula for that, then for that, Supreme Court has already held that odd even is not a practical thing which can be implemented. And regarding the economic crisis, see, what has happened right now cannot be compared with a proper drafted policy for lockdown, because when the policy is properly when the proper policy is properly framed. Oh.
LC24.
Yes, ma'am.
You have 1 minute for it.
On the count of 3, you can start. 1, 2.
Ma'am, I have a chance to serve rebuttal.
No, we just have rebuttal.
Okay.
Okay. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ma'am, as my worthy opponent has said that in this particular timing, the economic crisis and the sudden increase of CO2 and odd even formula as well. I am saying that instead of putting on the odd even formula, we can develop our technology. We can put more and more economic things. We can put more and more monetary substances into the planning towards a better environment, towards a better lifestyle. And introduction of biannual has various effects on nature as well as on the human tendency, because when you are when in the extreme conditions, when you are at home continuously, your mental health deprives, and when your negative vibes goes into the nature, that same things comes back. And when a person can develop itself, then why to stop the whole nation? Why to stop the why to increase the contraction of the economy? Why to put a heat onto this mindset of lockdown?
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you.
Pushpam, just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Sashwati ma'am and Rajiv sir, would you need a break?
1 second, I'll unmute them.
Yeah.
Sir, I've unmuted you. Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm fine.
I'm
Okay.
fine.
Okay, so we'll continue then. Thank you.
Only my video is off. I think so.
Okay, yes, sir.
From your side.
Yes, sir.
No.
But
So
that is okay.
Ashwati ma'am is saying something.
Yeah, ma'am, can you unmute?
I have a small query. Actually, in LC24,
yes, ma'am.
LC24, the girl who has just now
Yes,
in the
sir.
debate participated, what's her name? Little confusion in the name, because LC24 in the score sheet given Ronak.
Yes, ma'am. I am Ronak Katre, Miss Ronak Katre as in.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
absolutely okay. There is a
Okay, ma'am.
confusion.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, carry
Okay,
on.
ma'am. Good day, ma'am.
Yeah.
My video is off from your side. Don't know.
We just started. Yeah. You can start your video now, sir. Okay, so we'll Pushpam, you can call on the next team, please.
If it is okay for you, I have no problem. We can off it.
So,
No, it's all right, sir.
Ma'am, our next team is ready.
Yes.
Yes, please call in.
Yeah. So the next team is LC25.
sorry. 25.
So our next team is LC25 and LC26. LC25, you will be speaking for the motion. You will get 3 minutes and please start speaking as soon as the timer is set.
Pushpam, 1 second, okay? LC26 is LC26. Yeah, connected. You can go ahead. Thank you. Thank you. You can go ahead. She's
Okay.
connected. Yeah.
So first is LC25. On the count of 3, your timer will start. So you can start after that. 1, 2, 3.
It was the best of time, it was the worst of time. One of the most iconic quotes of English literature, which rightly describes the situation of lockdown. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, ILC 25 stand for the motion. Today, I would like to discuss with you the story of two planets. Yes, you heard it right. The two planets. That is, before and during the lockdown. The climate around definitely shows two different sides of the mother nature. According to Niti Aayog's Composite Water Index, India, around 600 million people in India face extreme water shortage, and around three-fourths of the households in India do not have access to clean water in their premises. Apart from this, in 2019, Delhi faced extreme air pollution, and in November, public health emergency was declared as the air quality index exceeded the hazardous level, that was 800. And after spending around 2,972.5 million crore, government could not bring much of difference. I would like to stop as I assume that I have scared you enough. But if you still do not realize what are we heading towards, my friends, you need to open your eyes and check. And this lockdown period, this short period itself, brought a lot of difference in the nature. The most polluted river Ganga of Kanpur and Varanasi showed timer is being stopped. Excuse me.
Um, 1 second. Purva,
Should I continue?
give us 1 second. Purva.
Please wait.
Sorry.
Sure.
Purva.
I can't see Purva, ma'am. I think she's
Okay.
disconnected.
Okay, so I will just share a timer. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second, okay? We'll start from 1 minute. There was 1 minute 9 seconds, so we'll start from there. Sorry, just let me share my screen, okay? Just give me 5 seconds.
Purva ma'am joined back.
Okay, I can. Purva, shall I share the screen? Okay, I'll share the screen and I'll count down 1 minute, okay? You had 9 seconds, 1 minute, 9 seconds. We will just count the 9 seconds later. I just, yeah. Okay? Here, you go. You can start. Yes, we'll unmute you. I'll reset. Sorry. Namita, can you unmute LC25?
Yes.
You have to unmute from your side else.
LC25 has been unmuted.
Yeah. Okay. Can you just say something so I know you're audible?
Yeah,
okay. Thank you. So let's start again. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
The lockdown that COVID-19 brought along with itself showed us different results. The most polluted river, Ganga, of Kanpur and Varanasi, also managed to show cleaner water. According to this study conducted by IIT Delhi, the air quality index in Delhi has also improved. I would like to conclude by saying it's high time now that we humans give our intelligent brains some rest and allow Mother Nature to do its own work. Thank you.
LC26, you will be speaking against the topic. You have 3 minutes and start speaking when the timer is set.
I'll give you a countdown. LC26.
LC26, please turn on your camera.
Ma'am, my camera is on.
Yeah, you are visible now.
Okay. So I'll give you a countdown. Okay. 3,
Okay.
2, 1. You can start.
Okay. A very good evening to everybody, my worthy opponent, and I'd like to wish a very happy Environment Day to everybody today to begin with. Now, I strongly stand against the motion for today. Now, to begin with, the pandemic could show us how the future might look like with lesser air pollution, or it may just indicate the scale of the challenges ahead. At the very least, it could challenge the governments and businesses and organizations to consider how things can be done in the future and how to use less and waste less. However, what all we see on the news channels, on the newspapers, etc., is all very short-lived. What they overlook are the numerous negative effects of the pandemic on the environment as well as the wildlife. I shall be discussing about 10 major points that have adversely affected the environment in repercussions to what the corona pandemic has brought with itself. The first is how the volumes of unrecyclable waste have risen. there have been severe cuts in the agriculture and fishery export levels, which have led to the generation of a lot of large quantities of organic waste. The maintenance and monitoring of ecosystems have been temporarily halted and ceased, and the tourism activity through the natural areas have caused to be a complete lockdown. Now, there have been a lot of food retailers which have resumed using plastic bags at checkout counters, citing health concerns over consumers using or reusing paper bags. Now, this has also led to consumers increasing their consumption of takeaway food delivery packets with single-use packaging. What has this led to? Ma'am, this has led to all these developments creating acute challenges for the waste management industry at a time when they are actually already operating with limited capacity due to the coronavirus crisis. Now, the second is with the emergence of import activities in the export markets, with sharp declines in the availability of cargo transportation services, the coronavirus crisis has actually led to an increased volume of unshippable agricultural and fishery commodities. Now, because this waste is left to decay, the levels of methane, carbon dioxide, which is a carbon monoxide, which is CH4, these emissions which is a greenhouse gas, from decaying the produce are expected to rise sharply in the crisis and immediately post-crisis months. And the third is that there are a lot of natural ecosystems and protected species which are at risk during the coronavirus pandemic. In many countries, for example, countries in Asia, countries like Colombo, which are at an environmental protection workers, they are at national parks and land and marine conservation zones are required to stay at home in the lockdown, leaving these areas unmonitored, unscrutinized, and uncared for. Now, their absence has resulted in a rise of illegal deforestation, especially in the areas of Colombo, etc., and also fishing and wildlife hunting. The third is...
Your time is up. LC25.
LC25. You have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set. And please turn on your camera.
Turn on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
My worthy opponent raised one very good point, that was of the fishery was left, and because of which methane, I don't know the exact gas which she mentioned, but that was allowed to release in the environment. But I would like to mention that we are talking about a planned lockdown, and the COVID-19 brought unplanned lockdown with itself. So when it is unplanned lockdown, we make sure that all this is not happening, fisheries or any such material is not left out to decay, and it is being planned. That's the reason we are saying planned short-term biannual lockdown. Thank you.
Okay. So,
LC26.
yeah.
You have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
So your countdown is 3, 2, 1.
Ma'am, my worthy opponent mentioned the use of a planned lockdown. Number one, that is not mentioned in our, there is no constitution which mentions a statutory provision to have it a planned lockdown. Considering how the urgency of the matter has happened in the past 3 months, there has been nothing that is planned. Please consider the case of India. Now, ma'am, for example, in India, there is a report by the Stanford University, especially in the South Asian countries, where illegal fishing is on the rise, with fishermen reportedly illegally endangering into the Indonesian waters. To give just one example, also globally, WWF is concerned about the potential effect of removal of key surveillance in fishing areas and fish stocks, whereas illegal lodging as enforcement agencies are unable to conduct any kind of raids due to restrictions on movement. So I don't think the planned lockdown here is working at all, because considering the governments anyway have very less time to work on this, there is no planning being done anywhere. And even if there is, the enforcement is slow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Yes, Pushpa.
So our next team is LC27 and LC28. LC27, You will be speaking for the motion. You will get 3 minutes and start speaking.
LC27 has not logged in through her computer audio because I'm not able to see. Yeah. Okay, LC27, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. It has got unmuted right now.
Yes.
Okay. So I have got the topic about.
Start speaking when the timer is set on the count of 3.
3, 2, 1.
Firstly, good afternoon to all the judges. I have got to speak about the topic about pros of a lockdown. So, firstly, as you can see, the pros of a lockdown are right now I am able to hear the sweet sound of nature and also the birds chirping around me. I am able to connect with nature. Is the best thing which earlier human beings used to ignore, but now I find nature has connected with me. I find much fresh when I get up in the morning. Secondly, I can say that the air pollution has reduced drastically, and you can see the clean, fresh air. The amount of nitrogen oxides have decreased. People with breathing problem like asthma, bronchitis, they are finding that the air has improved, which has helped them better. And their health problems have reduced drastically. Also, I can tell you about the water pollution has reduced because we don't have human beings defecating in open, neither animals bathing. That's the reason why the water has become crystal clear. People are even able to see fishes. Air pollution has reduced drastically, and people can see the Himalayas from Jalandhar from the north, which earlier was never visible after the 21st century. And wildlife, in the sense as water pollution has reduced, you can see wildlife has been breeding better. Soil pollution has also reduced. This will help us to get a good fruitful fruit in future. This is also helping us relive our lives. And noise pollution. Due to lockdown, the noise in the environment has become less. That is due to weddings have stopped. You can find traffic has stopped all around. You can also find that there is less movement of people and there is less noise pollution, which is very good for health. And this is the best time of our health. That's what I can say. And thank you so much.
The next participant is LC28. LC28, you will be speaking against the motion. You will get 3 minutes and start speaking when the timer is set on the count of 3.
So, LC28, the countdown starts now. 3, 2, 1.
LCM 27, good afternoon, judges, and good afternoon to all of you. I'm going to speak against the motion of the introduction of biannual mandatory lockdown for short duration away ahead for environmental protection. As all of you know, the industrial India is the fast growing developing country. Doing this type of mandatory lockdown biannually will affect the economy. As you say, it will kill the economy. In right now situation, this lockdown is indirectly protect the environment from getting pollution, but it adversely affect the economy, even common man, and even to the daily wages earner. The short duration lockdown process, for that duration, the government will not pay the money to the daily wages earner. So the day-to-day life of this daily wages earner definitely destructive. This lockdown process affect the economy. For example, the income tax filing date of 31st March, it will extend it to the 30th June. So the direct income of the government of income tax will sharply decline. This type of short duration lockdown will also affect to the industrial production and distribution systems. So the cell tax collection also comes down. Better than that biannual mandatory lockdown, government has took the mandatory instruction to the industry which is polluted the air, water and noise pollution to take the necessary measures and follow the rules and regulation guided by the Central Pollution Board and the State Pollution Board. At the time of giving the license or sanction permission, to start the company or to construct the company nearby the river area, government has the right to stop that, to do that act. So there will be no need for this biannual mandatory lockdown. The day-to-day activity of each and every things which is contributed to the pollution and environmental destruction from starting point have to be used precautionary measure to protect the environment. So these also do better than doing the biannual mandatory lockdown. At the time of this biannually mandatory lockdown, the demand supply chain will definitely affect by increasing in price of the product, as you see right now. So the normal people will directly affect from this policy. To stop the environmental degradation, we look into the treatment of water, noise, and air pollution plant to work properly. Neither it will be punishable at a high level. Therefore, we have to amend in the Environmental Protection Act, not to require to do this biannual mandatory lockdown. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is
LC20.
LC27 there in the group, there in the meeting?
Okay. So she seems to have disconnected. We can continue with LC28. You can give him 1 minute to rebut whatever was said by the participant.
Yeah, so LC28, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
Okay, so he's muted himself. So can you unmute yourself? LC28, can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 1 more minute for a rebuttal. Can I give you a countdown from what she said? Can I give you a countdown now?
Yeah.
3, 3, 2, 1.
As the madam says that regarding the changes in the environmental or some help to the environmental degradations, it is not enough that temporarily these types of lockdown is useful. From starting point of view, in day by day, it is required to take necessary measures to control over the environmental protection. Enough from my side.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Ma'am, is our next team ready?
Yes, LC5 and 7.
Okay, so now the next team is LC5 and LC7. LC5, you have to speak for the motion. You will get 3 minutes and you will start speaking as soon as the timer is set.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
All right, 1 second, please.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a countdown. It's going to be 3, 2, 1.
In a country like India, which has 21 of the cities out of the 30 most polluted cities in the world, it is a very drastic effect that we have seen in the present scenario of lockdowns. Now, this gave us an outlook, apart from our own self-interest, that there are other beings, that other things like the environment also needs a specific attention. Because we saw how the effect was there, that's why we are coming forward to this topic. That's why a topic like this is existing in a debate. Now, just like how a human body needs its rest, even the environment needs its due. Many countries have 4 days of work week. Why do they have 4 days? Because the rest of the days they give as a personal day for the person to have their rest and whatsoever they want to do. Now, I do not say that we impose a lockdown every week, but twice a year for a minimum of at least 15 days, a very, very small period should be given. Our life will not stop, nor will our work stop, and the environment will heal as well. Now, one such alternative to this given by the scientists was sustainable development. Sustainable development being development of humans, our industries and economic activities, along with taking care of the environment. But it seems to have failed in somewhat in other form. Now, what we have to understand is that sustainable development did not lead to actual development. It did not, because nowadays we can still see the reliance on fossil fuels. we can still see that renewable sources are not used as much as they should be. Now, just to understand the drastic effect of the lockdown that it was in the current scenario, 7 million people die of air pollution. 7% of greenhouse gas emissions are done by commercial planes, which were grounded during the lockdown. AQI, Air Quality Index for Delhi, was highest ever recorded in any city of any country in the world. Mumbai had an AQI of 550. But now, as an example of the current scenario, Mumbai has an AQI of just 50, between 50 to 70. That is just a drastic effect than any other principle that we have created. Now, we started to change in the first, we saw the change in the first 15 days itself. And the change was quite apparent to all of us. The dolphins had come to the shore. I saw it in my house as well. All the squirrels and everyone were enjoying, all the birds were out in the sky. So we have to understand that natural balance has to be created. And we have always lived like this as humans, especially in India, whose culture has always protected the environment and all other beings. Thank you.
Um,
So the next participant is LC7. LC7, you will be speaking against the motion. You have 3 minutes and you will start speaking as soon as the timer is set.
One second. Am I audible?
yes, you're
Yes, you
audible.
are audible.
Okay, thank you.
So LC7, your countdown is 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody, and my warm greetings to the judges. As he spoke, we are in the lockdown phase. It is mainly due to because of the coronavirus. Yes, we all know the pandemic has started only for the coronavirus. So we are all staying in home, and we can see the development of the nature recovering itself. But we have to consider certain points on it. We are in the lockdown period, and the nature is developing. But the things to be considered is double the trouble. Yes, once we are all going to open the
LC7, LC7, you have muted yourself.
So you muted me, I think. So, okay.
No, you muted yourself.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'll restart. I'm giving you a countdown. 3,
Yeah, sure.
2, 1.
Okay, as I said, we are many troubles. So first one is double the trouble. Once we open the port for the industries and other things to open, they are going to work round the clock to just to uh, uh, just to have the losses covered. So they are going to pollute even after the lockdown is there. So what I'm saying is, so whether we have to look into the sustainable development. Sustainable development is like there should be a development. This is a temporary solution. The lockdown is always a temporary solution, and it is not a permanent way to recover recover the environment. And the second thing is the economical impact. As we all know, we are economically a little backward, and we are still maintaining to reach the level. So when we are going to introduce a lockdown, and it is also a biannual, and even it is a minimal period, we cannot say that economy will be great. Economic will stay sustainable. It will have a greater effect. So what I am trying to say is we have to look into our economic as well, and also fourth one is infringement of fundamental right. I can always say that there not everybody can combine and it can accept the lockdown because it is not a that is a necessary situation, and it is not a war emergency also. So at this time, for the development of the environment, we cannot say everybody has to they have to stay in home and they can cooperate. So this is all the facts we have to take in mind, and the logic also we have to look behind it. As the other speaker said that he can see the squirrels on his home and he is very happy, but I am seeing the most of the garbage is dumped in my street, in my own street, where it is uncleared. So we have to take a permanent measure instead of any temporary measures. So actually, we are into the Lincoln Douglas debate, and it is mainly emphasis on the logic and the value. So I think I have covered all the logic and values in this point. So looking into the logic points, I request judges to take their stand. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you all. This is by this I can complete my arguments. Thank you so much.
LC5, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
LC5 right now. Okay. LC5,
Yes.
your countdown starts now. 3, 2, 1.
My learned friend had several good points in her ambit. But one thing she said was that we have to cover the losses, the economic losses. But as I mentioned, air pollution and the losses of lives due to that pollution, which is 7 million per year in the world. Do you really think that lives are not as much of a matter as losses? Does loss matter more than a life? Now, again, about the sustainable development. Sustainable development is a principle that has been acting since a very long time. We have given it chance after chance again and again, and it hasn't shown the growth that it should have, that we thought that it would bring. But just the 2 months of this unknown force majeure lockdown has brought something new in front of us. I'm not saying that we lock down the country completely. Garbage can be taken away from the streets, but so can people live with the other beings according in the lockdown. Thank you.
LC7, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
Okay, I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, as he said, life is not as main as economy. I didn't say that, and now we can see the situation here compared to the last month, like May or March or May. We can say that the fear of coronavirus is very high, and also the precautions we have taken, the government has given us, is also very high. But as of now, the government is itself relieving the lockdown. Why? Because there is a very huge crash in economy. So we can always see that now the coronavirus is almost, it's very in danger. But in the same time also, they are just relieving the lockdown only because of the economic reasons. So that's why I think life is also main, but our economy, even the government also take the stand of relieving the lockdown because of our economic crashes. So that is why I want to answer you. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. And the last, ma'am, do we have our next team ready?
Yes, one sec, Pushpa. I have to read.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Pushpa. Ready.
So the last team for the event is LC29 and LC30. LC29, you will be speaking for the motion. You will get 3 minutes and start speaking once the timer is set.
One sec, Pushpam.
LC20.
LC30 is not there in the participant list. Is LC30, has LC30 joined? I had admitted him.
Maybe he encountered some technical difficulty. So Mohit can ask him to rejoin. Also, LC29, you seem to have not connected your audio. So please connect your audio.
Ma'am,
LC30 has joined, I think.
Yes.
LC30 is in waiting room.
Purva ma'am, if he's not joined the audio, he can't hear us. So we have to text him or give him a call.
All right.
Yeah, because
Mohit, could you just give him a call and ask him to connect through the audio? This is our last theme. Judges, after this, we would be done with our round.
I think LC30 has joined.
Yes.
So our next participant is LC29. LC29, you will be speaking for the topic. You have 3 minutes.
Pushpam, 1 second, he's not joined his audio. Okay, and because of that, he can't hear us either. Yeah, he's connected.
I'm gonna message him.
Yeah, he's connected.
All right. I'm gonna unmute him.
Yeah.
You can unmute yourself now, LC29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Pushpam, go ahead.
All right, should I start?
Pushpam.
1 second. We need LC29. I lost him.
Should I start? He's here. On the count of 3, the timer will be switched on, so you can start speaking at that time.
All right.
So LC29, your countdown starts now. 3, 2, 1.
So in the recent lockdown, we have seen that the water in Ganga River at Haridwar has become drinkable. From Jalandhar, 140 kilometers away, we are able to see the Himalayas quite really very clearly. So these many changes have been noticed by many people around the world. Also, and people have started feeling that a lockdown, a biannual lockdown, will help us in working out our way for future environmental protection programs. So in regard of that, first of all, we must understand that climate change is a cumulative problem, and short-term mitigation cannot always help us in reaching completely successful long-term results. However, we need to realize that long-term results also need certain short-term goals. In that regard, I would like to bring about some facts regarding this recent lockdown. In the European Union, as the power demand and the manufacturing industry went down, 400 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions were lowered down. That is 9% of their 2020 targets of greenhouse gas reductions. In Punjab, the air quality index has come down to 50, and before the lockdown, it was 120 or 140. And this change was observed in just 2 weeks. Furthermore, in northern Italy, there has been 10% reduction per week in the extremely harmful nitrogen dioxide gas. So, considering these changes that have happened around us, I would like to say that this current lockdown can help. I mean, having such lockdowns twice a year can help us reset and head on to a new start whenever we look forward for environmental action. Secondly, this lockdown has proven 3 most important things to us. First being that it is very much possible to achieve these results. Climate change is a man-made action, and to control that, the trigger for pollution is also in our hands. Furthermore, this is an opportunity for more research and experimentation for climate scientists. For example, there is a scientist there's a scientist from the USA. His name is Gabriel Pfister, and he was studying the effects whenever cars are taken out off the road. He was trying to understand its impact on the climate change. Now, in any actual usual situation, he couldn't have studied this with a practical observation. He would have had to depend on assumption and numerical models. But right now, he has got a real life example to test the conditions. This is one of the ways in which climate scientists are getting new samples to make their studies. Furthermore, whenever we look at these improvements in our air quality, it reminds us of what kind of a world we would be able to live in if we take clean energy and electric vehicles and sustainable solutions very seriously. Considering that, I think this can also, make sure that
LC29.
Yeah.
Your time's up. Your time's up.
Okay. Thank you.
So the next participant is LC30. LC30, you will be speaking against.
Yes, चालू है करे.
Sushma ma'am.
Yes. LC30.
LC30, you will be speaking against the motion, and you have 3 minutes. Start speaking when the timer is set.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries.
LC30, I'm giving you a countdown. Okay, I'll give you a countdown and you can start. 3, 2, 1. You may start.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries and my learned opponent. I, Srirang Ashtaputre, resolutely stand against the motion. Introduction of biannual mandatory lockdowns for short durations, a way ahead for environmental protection, owing to the negative physical, mental, and sociological impact it can have on the lives of 1.2 billion Indians. It is undisputed, as my learned opponent rightly pointed out, that the imposition of lockdown and its subsequent extension has definitely improved the air quality and also the quality of water bodies, be it Ganga, Delhi, Venice, or other parts of Italy. However, it is pertinent to mention that such positive impacts have been witnessed during the course of every such global crisis, be it the Spanish flu or even the Great Recession of 2008. A fall in carbon emissions has been recorded due to the exponential increase and has increased exponentially after successfully having dealt with the crisis. It won't be surprising that a similar trend would be witnessed post-pandemic as well for compensating for the losses incurred during the lockdown. And in fact, China is already in the process of implementing the same. Speaking about losses, it can be noted that while the worldwide lockdown is the sole reason for pushing Japan into recession, the global growth is expected to fall to minus 3%. In Indian context, the GDP growth in India is estimated to fall 2.5% against the estimated 5%. Besides, unemployment soaring from 90% to 26% as of today, primarily due to the lockdown. The tax collection of Delhi government fell drastically by 90% from 3,500 crore to just 300 crore in April 2020, and implying a drastic decrease in the income to the states due to the lockdown. These instances exhibit why lockdown, that is a complete ban on socio-economic activities for a certain period, should be avoided unless the gravity of the situation demands the same. Such an excessive measure would not only deprive people of their livelihoods, so enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution, but since laying off laws are not that humane in India, the employers may lay off their employees for safeguarding their economic interests, furthermore ushering poverty and unemployment. Moreover, I would like to draw attention to the fact that there has been a rampant increase in domestic violence cases and suicide and also depression, implying that going for lockdown such unnecessarily would only be in violation of the right to health of these citizens. Along the right to health of the citizen would be a complete disobedience of the goal of the state to ensure that the unit of family is upheld. Moreover, I would also like to point out, give some legal aspects to it, that the test of that lockdown being a drastic measure, as it is drastic, and the final solution is evident from PM Modi's speeches on several instances, proves that it is not a less intrusive measure, and therefore it violates the test of proportionality under Article 21 of the Constitution, also is in violation of Article 19. Therefore, in summation, I would like to state that rather than going for such drastic measures, we should go for less intrusive measures such as penal compensation. Thank you.
LC29, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
LC29, can you unmute yourself?
And please switch on your camera.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm giving you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
So to begin with, the topic of this debate was more openly focused on the aspect of considering lockdowns for environmental protection. In that sense, I would say that this was not limited to the repercussions of an economic slowdown. For example, renewable energy scientists say that a considerable reduction in the amount of energy used can help us in a better transition towards renewable energy, and that would mean that the economic aspect can be taken care of. Secondly, when we talk about having a biannual lockdown each year, what it means is that we have a very strategic and a very well pre-planned lockdown considering all the economic factors. Moreover, such lockdowns will be meant to last only for a week or 2 weeks. That is why we have mentioned lockdowns for short duration, whereas the current lockdown has been going on for months, and that is exactly the reason why there has been such a huge economic failure around the world. Furthermore, there is the
LC29.
Yeah.
Yeah, time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
LC30, you have 1 minute for rebuttal. Start speaking when the timer is set.
Okay, I'm giving you a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
I don't have any points to add on per se, but I would just like to highlight that when there are two legal threats, that is the one that is the apparent legal threat and that is more essential to be dealt with, and another which is anticipatory and which is relatively less drastic as compared to the former, then the inclination for safeguarding the interest of the former would be imperative. Moreover, if lockdown is imposed, it must be bear in mind that the plight of the daily wage workers, that won't be considered, and likewise the plight of the general shopkeepers whose wages depend daily on working and earning will also not be considered. Moreover, as I have stated earlier, that the victims of domestic violence should also be considered, who have been increased drastically due to families spending a lot of time, and this lockdown has been proven to be a reason for disruption of several marital bonds. So the lockdown being an extensive measure should not be considered, but other provisions for safeguarding environment should be considered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. It was a wonderful event.
Purva ma'am, shall I start?
Yes, begin.
Thank you so much, Pushpam, and all the participants. This brings us to the end of the knockout round for the LexConnect's online debate competition. It was a wonderful session and a delight listening to all of you. Some of you put forth some really good points and some amazing facts. A very good evening to one and all present here. I, Anuj, the first year student of Jitendra Chauhan, College of Law, regard this as a privilege, honor to offer the vote of thanks for today's session. I, first and foremost, would like to welcome our respected judges, our beloved principal, professors, and my dear friends, and of course, all the amazing participants who have come forward and shared this amazing and wonderful moment with us, especially since this being a maiden online debate competition with LexConnect. I would now like to call upon my friend Shlok Bodes to introduce our judges for the day.
Shlok, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I feel privileged to introduce our first judge here with us, Advocate Shashwati Deb. She practices independently under the name of SD Legal, and a major area of practice is criminal law. Advocate Shashwati Deb handles cases of domestic violence and marriage petition matters. Alongside, she has also worked with courts in terrorism-related crimes worldwide. She currently works as an advocate at Bombay High Court, Session Courts, and City Civil Courts. She is known for her excellent communication skills and interaction with the court judges. Advocate Shashwati is a true role model for law aspirants of all generations working in the crime related fields for a fierce piece of work, networking, and successful pleadings. Ma'am, we are proud and happy to have you as a judge today. I request you to unmute yourself and say a few words and give your invaluable feedback. Thank you.
It's a great privilege for me to judge these young buddies, the aspirant uh, future lawyers, and excellently the debate has been organized by the all the initiative taken by all the teachers and the LexConnect, all the court team. As a great thank to all of them. It's a wonderful session, and really I have enjoyed a lot to judge with all this young generation, and looking forward they're all the best in their future prospect. Thank you.
Shlok, you may continue. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Our second judge is Advocate Rajiv Shah. Advocate Rajiv Shah is associated with High Court Legal Services Authority, District Legal Services Authority, and Mumbai Suburbs Legal Service Authority. He is a graduate in sociology and law, and he works for a diverse range of matters, right from civil, criminal, contract, IPR, labor laws, and so on. Some of his major contribution and experiences lies in the field of digital media and content industry. He is also one of the established international consultant for many organizations and has a wide global networking. His current project includes creation of global study group on Cloud Act. Our judge for today is truly an inspiration and a knowledgeable personality with experiences in so many arenas from media to society and personal matters. We are privileged and grateful to have you with us, sir. I request you to unmute yourself and say a few words and give your invaluable feedback. Thank you, sir.
Hi, thank you for my introduction. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's a wonderful experience to have with you all, and your initiative is also quite appreciable. The kind of networking you have done, in spite of a lot of technical issues, things went on very well. I was a little bit doubtful about the network issue, And the participant, I must appreciate participant. They are really, really wonderful. And they have done, many of, at least 70% of them have definitely done a lot of study on what they are going to speak about. They have touched to various subjects, various legal, combination of legal as well as social ethos. Especially you're talking about the Constitution Article 21 and all. Though some of them have really drifted away from the main subject, but that is okay because you are just beginning your career. And I really see a very big career for you all. And it's very difficult for me to decide who is the best and who is not the best. Everybody is best here. And thank you for the college team also, the professors and all those coordinators. They have also done a wonderful job. It's highly professionally done. I'm very happy. It's almost like I'm talking to my New York client. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shlok. Once a great man said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take this opportunity to put all my gratitude in the form of words. On behalf of the management and all the participants and my colleagues, I would like to thank all our judges for taking the precious time out of this busy schedule and especially during such trying times and agreeing to judge our event today, especially since it being an online event. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by our beloved principal, Dr. Priya J. Shah. Ma'am, you have been a constant support and have always given us a lot of encouragement. I extend my sincerest thanks to all the faculty members and the student members of the entire organizing committee. Last but not the least, I would like to wish all the best to all the participants who have put forward a great set of points and have participated amazingly and have been a great sport. Uh, the results shall be announced on the respective WhatsApp groups. So kindly tune on to your WhatsApp groups. Till then, have a great day and stay safe. Thank you, everyone.
Purva, can we request everybody to switch on their webcams for once? Can all of you all switch on your webcams, all those people who are here present today? Uh, yeah, so we can take a screenshot, not selfie, but screenshot. Yeah. Okay.
Drishti, would you do that?
Yeah.
Somebody who's using the laptop.
I think
Navneeta ma'am.
Navneeta ma'am. Swasti ma'am is, she's not there. Purva? Yeah.
The ma'am has
Yes.
come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
So,
guys.
thank you so much, everybody, all the participants. The results would be announced in the WhatsApp group, and I would like to end the session now. Thank you, and I really apologize if you faced any delay, and if you faced any technical issues. But this was the first round. Hope we do better, much better in the second round. Thank you, and all the best. I'll be ending the session now.
Yes, Purva ma'am, once again, thank you so much, all the judges and especially our visiting faculty also. I would like to say a sincere thank to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll have to
end the session.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. Can't figure it out.